is swung on and hit the end of right field deep. And you can't forget about this one. Blaze Salter hits number 5, and the Newport Gulls retake the lead.
This is the Newport Gulls pregame show, live from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island.
Gone! A grand slam to left power, right tower power, and the Gulls walk off in the 15th inning.
Coming up, interviews, stats, standings, lineups, and a whole lot more.
Tomas steps on the bag for one out, throws to first. It is in time, a double play.
And that one is gone! Julian Abner!
A high drive, left field deep. Bolzano going back, looking up. This ball is a 2-run homer. P.J. Jones hits it out.
Stay tuned. The pregame show begins now on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Let's take it down to the field. Here is Newport Gulls play-by-play broadcaster Tolan Vaquero.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cardines Field here in historic downtown Newport as the Newport Gulls get ready to take on the Keene Swamp Bats. Keene on the year sits at 19-24. Newport Gulls 24-19, so it should be a good game. Keene had a big win last night against Upper Valley, which put them within half a game of Winnipesaukee for that final playoff spot in the Northern Division. So this game means a lot for them here tonight. If they get a win, that ties them with Winnipesaukee at 6.5 games out of first place. And then the waiting game starts for Keene as Winnipesaukee plays tomorrow. Their game tonight was postponed. So it's a big game for them. They're going to be fighting for their lives. And some could argue maybe the Gulls should roll over here. They've already locked up that second seed in the Southern Division. But they're not going to do that by any means. They're going for their 25th win of the year, which is that benchmark in their team history. They've never won less than 25 games. So this is a big night for both teams here. For the Gulls, it's going to be Paul Campbell on the mound out of Clemson University. He's making his first start for the Newport Gulls after being signed just a couple weeks ago. So it should be a fun one here. It's host family appreciation night here at Cardines Field. We have a lot more for you here on the Newport Gulls pregame show, which starts right now here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the pregame show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. I'm Shannon O'Connell here with Cole Fabio for the Gulls Insider. How are you doing today, Cole?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thanks. So this is the last game of the regular season. How have you enjoyed your time in the Gulls so far?
Oh, it's been an unreal summer so far. I mean, we have our last game. It's been obviously a long season. Kind of looking forward to finishing out and make a run for the playoffs, but Newport has treated us incredible thus far.
What have you learned from the Gulls coaches this season?
Oh, everything. I mean, the whole staff, Coach Degree, Coach Lavin, Coach Morhart have done great jobs with all of us, helping us in unique ways, getting adjusted to the wood bat, the summer league. It's been great all around.
So you're one of the few players that's been with us the entire season. How has it been having to adjust to a constantly changing roster?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, everybody who comes here has the same interest in baseball, so it's kind of easy to make new friends, and obviously we welcome them with open arms because we all have to win and play baseball together.
Knowing that the season's coming to an end soon, how does it feel knowing that the next time you see some of these players, you'll be playing against them?
Yeah, it's sad to say goodbye at the end of the summer, but hopefully I get to see a bunch of the guys, like you said, throughout the college season, and it's always fun playing against them, talking a little crap. It's fun.
The team seems pretty close, and we have a couple of characters on the team. What's the funniest thing that's happened this season?
I mean, I came here, not everyone was here, but I thought at the beginning of the season when the pitchers had to hit was kind of funny. They didn't look too comfortable up there. It's been a while for most of them, but they held their own.
Yeah. Standard question, what do you do on an off day?
We went to the beach yesterday. Can't beat the beach in Newport.
Definitely. And tonight's Host Family Appreciation Night. Can you tell me a little about your host family and why you like staying with them so much this summer?
Yeah, I've had the most incredible host family this summer. I have Kenny, Meredith, Luke, and Leo, and they welcomed us in with open arms. It's just been an incredible summer all around. I kind of treat them like my second family now.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
The pregame show continues next right here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the pregame show. I'm Shannon O'Connell, this time joined by Taylor Huntley for Gulls Eye View. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great today. It's a little cloudy, but it's been a good day so far.
But today's your birthday.
Today is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, like she said, my name's Taylor Huntley. I'm going to be a senior at Providence College, management major, and I am the community relations coordinator for the Newport Gulls.
So as the community relations coordinator, what do you do here?
Have like a various span of stuff that I do. I mostly work with community relations. I helped out with the summer reading program. I've set up birthday parties. I've helped manage birthday parties. Do a lot of like community service stuff for the Gulls, just little things like that. And I also help with things around the field.
What do you do on game days?
On game days, I help with the in-between inning games, so I get to pick the kids that do the games and stuff like that. Yeah.
What brought you to the Gulls organization this summer?
Lauren Pava, Chuck's daughter, is a really, really close friend of mine, and the Pavas are really close for me. I didn't even tell Chuck I was applying. I just slid my thing into his DMs, and he kind of like he called me and was like, "What are you doing? Like, let's help you out." And I was like, "This is absolutely what I want to do." So this is how I ended up here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite thing that you've done as part of the Gulls organization?
Definitely when I got to work the All-Star game, just meeting all the players and all the coaches and a couple of the scouts from all over. That was a really humbling experience for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what do you do apart from being part of the Gulls?
Well, I play softball at Providence College, so usually that's where all my focus is, that in school right now. So nothing too crazy, just normal college student stuff.
And what are you looking forward to senior year of school?
Graduating. I can't wait. Just getting my degree and hopefully finding a job soon.
Definitely, same here.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right. Thanks, Taylor, and happy birthday again.
Thanks, Shannon.
Pre-game show continues next, right here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Welcome back, Newport Gulls pregame show. Tolan Vaccaro here alongside Keene Swampat broadcaster Tommy Rezach. It's time for the Broadcasters Roundtable. Tommy, good to have you here at Cardines Field.
Yeah, great to be here in Newport, Rhode Island. It's our last trip in the Southern Division, last road trip of the regular season. So, yeah, great to be out here.
So last time I saw Tommy, we were up in Keene, New Hampshire, close to my hometown. It was the Swampbats who took that game in 11 innings. It was a pitching duel, and they seem to be cruising since then. Kind of been back and forth of a season. What's happened since that point?
Yeah, it's been a really roller coaster ride in the month of July, that's for sure. Keene, they went the month of July when they lost to Valley on Independence Eve. That's kind of when things started going bad. Keene was in last place, seemed to be surely out of the playoffs entering this week, and now all of a sudden the Swampbats have won 3 of their last 4. They won only their second road game in the month of July last night up in Upper Valley, an 8-5 win, and that win has thrust them into relevance in this playoff race as we go forward. So really, the month of July was not good, 7-18 that month, but somehow the Swampbats are only a half game out of the playoff picture. The game that the Swampbats will be keeping their eye on, or at least the Swampat media and fans, Winnipesaukee is up at the Valley Blue Sox tonight. So if Winnipesaukee wins and Keene falls tonight, their season is over. So Keene quite literally playing for their lives here in Newport.
Well, you mentioned they thought that they were pretty much out of it since they've rattled off those 3 wins in succession. And have you noticed a change in the vibe among the players?
Not a significant change, no. I mean, when things got bad, Keene lost 4 in a row dating back to last week, and you started to question, this late in the year, guys were getting hurt, guys were going home. You start to question, how much do they really want to be here? But now you kind of get the sense that maybe they do. I mean, Dom Yero's bat has really heated up. Jack Marock's on an 8-game hitting streak. Ryan Costello, I think he's batted upwards of 400 in his last 5 games alone. So I don't know. I don't know if the vibe or the attitude has really changed from what I've seen, but one thing I've just really seen is just the batting has really heated up. But the bullpen is still depleted. I mean, Keene had a 7-0 lead against the Sanford Mainers the other night. It was tied at 7 after 7 innings. And then last night, 4-0 lead, and it ended up being a tie ball game after 6 innings. So the starting pitching's been there. Maybe not as strong as when Tommy Doyle was here, but starting pitching's been there. Bats are really heating up, but that bullpen still really shaky. Keene needs some good innings out of the starter, Zach Hart, tonight.
Well, it feels like shaky bullpens have been the story of the season for a lot of teams here in the NECBL. I guess, Tommy, just tell our fans back home, those listening from Keene, a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got into broadcasting.
Yeah, so I come from a long land far away from Lincoln, Nebraska. I grew up on a farm just outside of there in a little town called Valparaiso. I'll be a senior at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, majoring in broadcasting, emphasis in sports communications. And I got to say, the way I got into broadcasting was the Nebraska Cornhuskers, growing up cheering for them, watching them, listening to the guys on the radio. I guess that's what really got it started, and always watched NFL, Major League Baseball growing up. And I was kind of the outcast of my family. I was the only sports-minded guy, so I kind of just chased that through my childhood, and UNL has some really wonderful resources out there in Lincoln, and being a part of the Big Ten's been really exciting. So that's kind of how I got involved with broadcasting, with the great facilities there. And you know, one day I just hope to do some play-by-play broadcasting for a living. I also host my own radio show on the UNL radio station, so anything like that. You know, I really have a inkling for radio, but I've done a little bit of TV before as well. So, yeah, you know, anywhere that will pay me to talk sports, maybe do some play-by-play, and do what I love. Anywhere that will pay me, I'll go there.
Well, having only done one game with you, I have no doubts you'll succeed. I look forward to another game up in the booth with you, Tommy. That'll do it for today's Broadcasters Roundtable. We have much more yet to come here on the Newport Gulls pregame show.
Welcome back to the pregame show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. I'm Shannon O'Connell, now with John Dilworth, our team photographer. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very fine.
All right. So, like I mentioned, you are a team photographer, and you used to just do part-time. Now you're full-time. How has this experience been for you?
It's really rewarding. I've been to a few away games. I get to see other parks. And it's all the baseball cards they put out today, I did.
So it's nice to see your hard work in action.
Yes, very much so.
You seem to have gotten kind of close with the guys. You've been with them all season. What's the best memory that you have?
I think it was Charlie Carpenter's first at bat when he hit a home run. When he first time he got up here, he hit one out of here. I thought that was pretty exciting.
That's great. You're also a host family in tonight's Host Family Appreciation Night. You were a host for a little bit. Can you talk about your experience?
Yeah, I never saw him. He was. I guess they keep him busy to keep him out of trouble.
Who are you hosting?
Where do I stay? I live right by First Beach.
Who did you host?
Oh, I had Coach Degree.
Okay. Did you enjoy his time with you? You said you didn't see him much, but...
See him. I couldn't tell you I didn't see him.
And you like being a part of the Gulls organization?
Yes, it's very rewarding.
Do you think you're going to join us next year as a team photographer full-time?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, no doubt.
You've traveled with the team. What's been your favorite thing going to other fields?
Sanford, Maine, very interesting. Nice ballpark. It's a Babe Ruth field, but it's a very nice ballpark.
But Cardines is obviously the best.
Of course.
All right. Thanks so much for all the time that you put in and everything that you do for us.
You're welcome.
The pregame show continues next on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Newport Gulls pregame show. It's time for the manager show, the last one of the regular season. Tolan Vaquero alongside Coach Al Leyva. Coach, congratulations on another great season so far. Still a chance to get that 25th win, but second seed locked up in the Southern Division. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great. You know, it's bittersweet. You know, it's you know, the season's coming to the end. You know, so that means the summer's coming in the end. But you know, we still have the playoffs, so we're looking forward to it.
Coach, Keene comes in today half a game back of Winnipesaukee. They're going to be playing hard today in today's game. Some people have been talking, saying maybe the Gulls should rest some guys. Maybe they should go after that 25th win. What can we expect here tonight?
Well, you know, unfortunately, you know, we're banged up. So the guys that are in there pretty much have to play. So, you know, we're just in that situation. You know, we got Charlie who's banged up. Jake Brote's banged up, and ideally if Jake or one of those guys was able to play, then, you know, I could give a Troy Dixon a night off. But, you know, we're really banged up right now, so unfortunately I can't do that. But, you know, they got a day off tomorrow. They had a day off yesterday. We had back-to-back days off on Thursday, Friday, so they're well rested. So I think if we were coming in there 9 days in a row, yeah, it'd be really tough for them, but fortunately for us, we've had some days off, another day off tomorrow, so I think we're in great shape.
Just on Jake Brote, last time I was here last Wednesday, I saw him come out of the game. Saw him after, he said it was a little issue with the shoulder. Any more word on that?
Yeah, he saw the doctor today, and it wasn't, it's just inflamed. And so basically he felt a lot better today even to throw. swing the bat. So he'll probably get a couple ABs, hopefully, and then be ready to go for Wednesday.
And Paul Campbell on the mound tonight. He's had one appearance this year. Was in relief. Looked good. 2 strikeouts in that appearance. What do you expect from him tonight?
You know what? When we got him in, I told him I'd give him a start. Which was today, because we basically had our pitching rotation set 2 weeks ago, and figured, hey, let's give him the today, because we knew we were going to be in the playoffs at that point. So it just a matter of where we were going to be. But so he knew he was going to get the start today. So I'm hoping he'll give us 3 or 4 solid innings, and then then we'll bring in a couple other guys, about 4 other guys, give them 1 inning each, and get them ready for Wednesday and Thursday.
Coach, 2 more questions. Out of this season so far, what's been the highlight for you?
You know what? For me, it's just been how these guys have just competed all year. From day one, we were short. We had 6 position players or 7 position players playing. We had 2 pitchers pitching or playing positions. They were also doing, catching bullpens. And so the character of this team has just been unbelievable. And they never give up. And so that's what I've enjoyed this whole summer.
Surely has been a good show. And Coach, can you divulge the secret of who's going to be starting Game 1 of the playoffs for?
Oh yeah, we're going to definitely start Hunter. He's been, like I said, about 2 weeks ago, we really kind of set the rotation. And so he pitched one day, and then we stretched him to 7 days off. And then we did it again, or we did 8 days off, and then he went to a 7-day. And then, of course, this one will be 7 days, when he's pitching again. So we've been ready for him. Jake Cousins was going to be the number 2 guy, but unfortunately he went home. So we're just going to move a couple of guys up, and they're set. They're ready to go.
Well, thanks, Coach. That'll do it for the final manager show of the regular season. Hopefully, we have many more as the Gulls look to compete for a championship here. It's the Swamp Bats versus the Gulls, which starts right now on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Broadcast.
Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cardines Field as we get set for tonight's NECBL baseball matchup. Tolan Vaccaro, Tommy Rezoch, and Shannon O'Connell here in the booth. We'll have the call for you tonight, as should be an exciting game and one that Keene really needs to win here tonight. They still got a chance.
Yeah, the Keene Swamp Bats, despite what's been a disastrous month of July, are still very much alive in the NECBL Northern Division playoff picture. They come into this game in 5th at 19-24 on the year, a half game back of the Winnipesaukee Muskrats, who have a oh-so-crucial game up in Holyoke, Massachusetts tonight, taking on the Valley Blue Sox. So we'll be keeping our eye on that one as we go throughout the evening. But yeah, the Swamp Bats, nothing like waiting till the last minute. They won 3 of their last 4 this week. They went on the road last night, beat Upper Valley 8-5, and won in their home finale in dramatic fashion on Saturday over the Sanford Mainers, the number 1 team in the Northern Division. Beat them 9-8 up at Alumni Field. So the Keene Swamp Bats are going to throw everything they've got at this game. Newport is not a tough nut to crack, especially even though they have clinched second place. This team, they've never won fewer than 25 games a year, so Newport is going to bring their best tonight. I have absolutely no doubt. And Keene, their backs are against the wall, to put it plainly. They're 1-5 in Southern Division stadiums this year. They only won 2 road games total in the month of July. So mathematically, you could say the odds are not on the Swamp Bats' side, but that's what I thought going into this week in every game, and the Swamp Bats have proven me wrong. So this is what Summer League baseball is all about. These teams making a late push for the playoffs, and in that Northern Division with those bottom 4, all comes down to who wants it more. Absolutely, and looking at the all-time standings, things have been pretty even between Keene and the Gulls. 17-15 record all-time Gulls win-loss record versus Keene, and at home here at Cardines Field, they're 11-5. You mentioned Keene hasn't won here in quite a while, but when you play at Keene, the Gulls are only 6-10. They lost earlier this year, that extra inning affair. We were lucky enough to be part of that pitching duel. It was Jake Cousins versus Tommy Doyle, and that one was fun to watch. I love being up there. So tonight at Cardines Field, it is host family appreciation night. So many families around the area take in these players and house them for the whole summer. They don't get paid for that or anything. So really a good night tonight as they're recognized, and we'll take that live, of course, from the field. But we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll have updated standings as well as
a look at what other action's going on around the league tonight. We talked about Winnipesaukee playing. They've already been postponed, so if Keene wins tonight, they're going to have a little bit of suspense waiting for Winnipesaukee to play tomorrow, but we'll get to that in just a moment. We'll take a quick break here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back, folks. We'll get the updated standings for you in just a moment, but first let's pick up Chuck Pava down on the field for this Host Family Appreciation Night ceremony.
We've had 13 players go home, folks, due to injuries, so we have a number of host families who are not here tonight, and I'll recognize them a little bit later. But for who we have in attendance, first of all, I'd like to welcome and introduce Jim and Pam Thomas. They're hosting Charlie Carpenter from USC Upstate and Blake Battenfield from Oklahoma State. Come on out, Blake. Come on out, Charlie. They also hosted Travis Howard, who has gone home from Santa Clara. Thank you so much for your generosity, Jim. This is his 5th year, their 5th year as a host family, folks, 5th year. Next, I'd like to introduce Mike and Claire Rack, and they have 2 children, Tommy and Lizzie. They've hosted Devin Mann, who's gone home with an injury, and now they host Trey Harris. Come on out, Trey. Come on in, come on, Rack family, come on out here so we can get your photo. I'd also like to recognize Mike Rack. He is a commander in the U.S. Navy, and let's give him a big hand for his service. Navy family, folks, outstanding. Thank you so much. I have Ray and Gail Burbrick and their daughter Andrea, and they host Derek Beaupre from Nova Southeastern. And this is their 6th year as a host family, and the 2nd year they've hosted Derek. I'd like to introduce Jason and Amy Dunn and their son Mac. They host Hunter Schreiber from Villanova University, his 2nd year, and Jake Prote from Santa Clara University. It is their 7th year as a host family, folks. Let's give them a big hand. 7 years. Thank you so much, Dunn family. I'd like to introduce Peter and Carlene Regan and their 2 boys, Aiden and Jack. They host this year Chris Bubik from Stanford University and Travis Young from Wichita State. Folks, it is their 8th year as a host family. 8 years, folks. Aiden was shorter than me back then. Now I'd like to introduce Mark and Teresa Powell. They are hosting their son Mark. Mark's from Bucknell University, our local Middletown boy. But they've also been a host family for 8 years, folks, so Mark grew up in the Golds family. And they're represented today by their 2 children, Victoria and Timmy. Thank you so much, Powells. Now I'd like to ask Barbara Bradley to come out, and she's hosting Andrew Gist and Blake Cairns, both from the University of Georgia. And it is her 5th year as a host family. That's a great picture. Thank you, Barbara. Now I'd like to introduce Ken and Meredith Martin. And they have 2 children, Luke and Leo, and they hosted Cole Fabio from Bryant University and Adam Wolf from the University of Louisville. And it is their 3rd year as a host family. Thank you. Thank you very much, the Martins. Now I'd like to have Nick and Patricia Sarentakes. And they have 2 children, Mark and Eleni. And they hosted Bradley Wilpon, who is no longer with us, but we'd like to have them come out. And Coach Leiva's going to represent Bradley today with their family. It was their 1st year as a host family, folks. Let's thank them. Next, I'd like to have Bill and Barbara DeMarco and their son John. They hosted Andrew Somerville from Stanford University, and he had to go home with an injury as well. But he's represented today by his teammate from Stanford, Chris Bubik. And it was their 1st year as a host family, folks. And I can tell you, Andrew had a great summer. Loved to fish. I'd like to ask Mr. and Mrs. Somerville to come out. Our grounds crew member who is hosting, Coach Eric DeGree. Folks, now I'd like to introduce Mr. Chuck Pava, who's hosting Chris Chatfield and Garrett Barker. Chris Chatfield from the University of South Florida and Garrett Barker from UCLA. This is, by the way, my 15th year being a host family.
Go Gulls.
And as usual, Mr. Mark Horn just rolls in. Come on, Mark! Mark Horn hosts our coach every year, and this year, Coach Al Leyba. Mark's been hosting our coach, folks, for 15 years. And for our host families who couldn't be here tonight, I'd like to recognize, and I'll read all the names off. Dan and Jamie Witteveen, Joe and Sarah, they hosted Jackson Goddard. Joe and Sarah Machado, they hosted Stephen Scott. George and Ann Oliver, they hosted Ben Brazil. Mark Stamoulis hosted Gabe Snyder. Dan and Joe Glenning hosted Denny Brady. Andy Bellegama hosted Shane Matheny, and he hosts our pitcher today, Paul Campbell. Chris and Becky Farwick hosted Zach Pendergrass. Eleanor Gray hosted Brendan Spagnolo. Steve and Nicole Seabold hosted Connor Kaiser and Troy Dixon. Jim and Ann Ayers hosted Jake Cousins. Keith and Jen Halabusco hosted Kevin Stroshine. Rick Bruno host Matt McGarry. And Dave Dittman and Coach Morehart. That concludes our host family celebration, folks. Let's give our host families a big hand. And if any of you in the stands would like to join our host family organization, just reach out to us on the Newport Gulls website. We're always looking for great host families, and it's a wonderful experience. Thank you all so much for your generosity. Thank you all very much, host families. You make our season, and you make our organization. Thank you.
Well, folks, that'll do it for the pregame ceremony. All the host families being recognized down there on the field. We'll have the starting lineups announced in just a moment down there on the field, and then we'll have first pitch. But first, let's just update you a little bit on the standings around the league. In the Southern Division, it's Mystic who has locked up that number 1 spot. They come in, or pretty much finish off the season with a 27-15 record. They have one more game. And then Newport in second, 3.5 games back, and Mystic going for that 25th win. It's a milestone for the Gulls. They've never won less than 25 games, with Danbury, who's locked up a spot, and then New Bedford. But Ocean State still has a chance. In the Northern Division, Sanford, of course, with the 26 wins. Valley and North Adams right there tied for second, and then Winnipesaukee and Keene kind of dueling it out for that fourth spot. But really, there's a scenario where potentially 4 teams could be tied for that number 4 spot.
Yeah, I believe that scenario would be Winnipesaukee has to lose their last 2, Keene lose tonight, and then Vermont and Upper Valley split tomorrow. Me and the co-voice of the Swamp Bats, Matt Skull, were kind of going over it before the game started. There's just so many different scenarios where one team can get in and this team could get in, and there could be a 3-way tie, 2-way tie. Winnipesaukee, if they win tonight and Keene loses, then Keene is eliminated. But if Vermont sweeps or Upper Valley sweeps, then you could be looking at a sudden death elimination game between Winnipesaukee and Upper Valley that would be probably played on Wednesday. So, yeah, I've never quite seen a log jam like that where 4 teams who had kind of a disastrous July, really, yet every single team has a chance. They're separated by only 4 teams separated by a half game this close to postseason. I've really never seen that in any other level of sport.
Well, I mean, what's it been for Keene? Because when I went up there towards the end of June, Keene was rolling. Mm-hmm. But I mentioned earlier those 116 walks. That's not a lot.
Yeah, they don't see the ball. They see the ball okay, but they don't work the count. They are kind of impatient at the bat sometimes. Sometimes they just swing for the fences a lot, and that results in a lot of weak contact. Keene has the second fewest strikeouts among all teams in the league, but yeah, it's just been a lot of weak contact. When the starting pitcher sees their lineup for the second time through, sometimes they struggle to adjust. They don't really adjust to the starting pitcher very well, so I'm really curious to see how the Clemson Tiger Paul Campbell does for Newport tonight. And then I mentioned it in the previous segment, the bullpen. I mean, there's been some injuries. Kids have gone home. We lost Tommy Doyle a couple of weeks ago, like right before the All-Star break. So it's a shame not having him. He was good for about 9 Ks and 7 innings every time he started. So yeah, the bullpen in general has just really been struggling. And the offense just inconsistent. Some days they'll rack 14 runs on Valley, and sometimes they'll only put up 2 total hits and get shut out by Vermont. So it's really just been really a lot of fluctuating offense, a lot of impatient offense, not seeing enough pitches, and then pitching wise, it's just a lack of personnel. Really, they just don't have the horses sometimes they don't have the longevity sometimes to hang with some of these top offenses like Newport.
We'll see if they can put it together here tonight. The goal starting lineup being announced, but you mentioned the bullpen's a problem. It's really been an issue for every team during that pregame ceremony. Something that stuck with me. Chuck Pavis said, 13 players have gone home for this Gulls team, and I'm sure that's not the most in the NECBL. I mean, Ocean State lost 4 of their starters, as we've really seen them kind of just fall off a cliff the last couple weeks, just 1-9 over the last 10 games and really struggling. It's going to take a lot for them to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, they've got a pretty important game tonight. They are at New Bedford. Now, the New Bedford Bay Sox, they have an outside. They are in the 4th place spot right now. Ocean State needs to win and hope for Danbury to lose. But that might end up in a tiebreaker situation. But it appears that the Westerners are in the driver's seat. And if New Bedford beats Ocean State, then they would seal. So, yeah, not quite the traffic jam we've got in the bottom half of the Northern Division. But, yeah, that's a pretty important game for Ocean State. But when we played them on July 12th, they were in first. And I looked at their pitching staff. I'm like, wow, these guys have got some arms. And now they haven't been hitting super well all season long. And as you mentioned, they've lost some guys. And they have paid the price. My goodness, what a fall from grace the Ocean State Waves.
And heading into the playoffs, you know, there's not one team that I look at so far in this division. I know we have Sanford, I know we have Mystic, but not one team that really I can say they're going to win the championship. They're going to run away with it. It's pretty even across the board when these teams get in the playoffs. The Gulls beat Mystic 8-1 the other night, or 8-2, and so it's really this 3-game series. It's going to be fun to watch in the playoffs, and I'm excited. But we're about to get the national anthem underway, so we'll pick that up in just a second. As we mentioned earlier this year, Keene versus Gulls, they've only faced each other once, and it was Keene who took the victory up in New Hampshire, 11-inning affair. They won on a walk-off single with the bases loaded. It was Jake Cousins in that game who pitched an absolute gem for the Gulls. What do you look for tonight from Keene?
Like I said, it's do or die. I mean, they just got to play like they want it. They're putting their best starter left out there in Zach Hart. The offense is on a roll this past week. They're batting .345 in the past 5 games. So Keene can keep their offensive rhythm going. That'll be huge. And, yeah, Zach Hart just has to do a good job going through this Newport lineup because they have brought their best here tonight.
Our colors being presented down on the field, and then we'll get the national anthem for you here at Cardines.
Now I'd like you all to remain standing for our national anthem tonight, performed by Lauren England.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Beautiful rendition there sung by Lauren England. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineups for you here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back, folks, to Cardines Field, just moments away from first pitch. But first, let's get the starting lineups, and starting for Keene, Tommy.
All right, leading off for the Swamp Bats, as he has most of the season, a senior out of Kent State playing second baseman is Dom Euro. Batting second is the shortstop, sophomore out of St. John's is Joshua Shaw. Batting third in left field, the sophomore out of Central Connecticut State, Ryan Costello. Batting cleanup, the DH, the junior out of Florida A&M, Aubrey McCarty. Batting fifth, the first baseman, a sophomore out of Georgia, Patrick Sullivan. Batting sixth, my fellow Nebraskan, the sophomore out of Iowa Western playing center field is Jack Marock. Batting seventh, the junior out of Butler University, Garrett Chrisman at third base. Batting eighth in right field is the junior of Maryland Terrapin, Jamal Wade. And batting ninth, doing the catching, the senior out of St. Bonaventure University, Tommy Lacongo. The Swamp Bats are managed by Jim Negrich, assisted by Chris Cody and Peter Wilbur.
Thank you, Tommy. And for the goals on the mound, it's going to be Paul Campbell today, right-handed pitcher out of Clemson. Coach Leyva said he'd get him one start. It comes here tonight. So far in the year, he's appeared in one game in relief through 2 innings of work, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. So pretty good numbers for him. And we'll get his numbers from school in just a moment. But the lineup for the goals will be as follows. Cole Fabio leads things off. He's at second base, followed by the NECBL batting average leader, Troy Dixon. He's the catcher. Steven Scott out in right field, bats third with Trey Harris in the cleanup spot at third base. Connor Kaiser bats fifth, the shortstop, with Chris Chatfield in left field. Travis Young out in center. Mark Powell will be the DH today, and Mike Corrin at first base. And on the mound for the Keene Swamp Bats, Tommy?
Yeah, it's Zach Hart, the sophomore out of Franklin Pierce University, is a native of Wallingford, Connecticut. For Zach, this will be his 11th appearance and 9th start on the year. Brings a 3-3 record on the hill tonight and a 3.43 ERA. In 44 2/3 innings of work, that's the most innings on the team. Hart has surrendered 47 hits, 22 runs, 17 of those earned, and a very impressive 37 Ks to 7 walks, though he does have a 280 opponent batting average, which is the 5th highest in the NECBL. So Hart, he'll throw a lot of strikeouts, but in several starts this year, the opponent offense has had their moments, so we'll see if Newport gets on him early, or we'll see if Zach Hart's able to keep the Gulls silent in the early going.
Well, he's going to need a good start against these Gulls bats who have been hot lately, as they've now taken the field, and the sun trying to poke through. The weather today, 74 degrees and cloudy at game time, perfect for baseball with winds 9 miles per hour out of the east-southeast. And as for the umpires in today's game, behind the plate, it's going to be Steve Durant, and on the base is David Viveros out there. So it should be a good matchup today. It's the Swamp Bats versus the Gulls, and I'm excited.
Yeah, no, this is the regular season finale for Keene. It could be the last game of the year, period, for the Swamp Bats. The Muskrats and Blue Sox just got underway up there in Holyoke, so it all rides on what happens there. But even if Keene loses, if the Muskrats lose that one, then it's kind of a waiting game. Winnipesaukee has to play Mystic tomorrow. Winnipesaukee wins then the Swamp Bat season is over. If Winnipesaukee loses, well, then we have to look at Upper Valley and Vermont, see what happens there. But, yeah, if I'm Keene, the message I think should be play like it's your last game, because it very much could be. So it's been a great week. You know, whatever happens tonight, the Swamp Bats can take a couple positives away. That one, you've won 6 more games than you did last year, so you're headed in the right direction as a program. And secondly, just go, if you're going to lose this road game, don't get snowplowed like you did up at Mystic Thursday, that 8-1 loss. That was a really demoralizing loss just looking at it. So if Keene, if this truly is it, if they're truly going to lose, go out competitive. And if they win and still don't make the playoffs, you could still say you won 4 of your last 5 and you ended up with 20 wins. So not too bad. I mean, obviously with the 7-1 start, didn't go quite the way you thought it would, but you just got to make the most of all these opportunities. Just play like every game is your last right now.
And the sun just now poking through out there on the field. So it couldn't have been any more perfect timing as Trey Harris dances out there behind the mound. As always, since coming on, he's just been a guy that's really lightened up the clubhouse, and that really sparked the Gulls turnaround here. So for Campbell, just a little more on him. I saw him once last week. He throws fairly hard, has a little trouble commanding his off speed, but when he does, he has some great stuff, a hard, sharp-breaking slider. This year at Clemson, he had 11.17 ERA in 12 appearances. All were in relief. 9.2 innings pitched, 16 hits, only 5 walks. So he's not too wild, but only 9 Ks. So we'll see what he has here as Dom Hierro steps in to the plate, and Paul Campbell toes the rubber. Hierro's been hot of late, Tommy, hitting .375 over the last 10 games, a home run, 5 RBIs.
Yeah, comes in on a 4-game hitting streak, had a pretty productive night against the Upper Valley Nighthawks, went 2 for 5, had a double, couple runs scored.
There's the first pitch of the game on the way, right down the middle in there for a called strike. So Campbell starts his day out with a strike to Hierro as the final game of the regular season here in the NECBL is underway for both the Swamp Bats and the Gulls as Hierro comes time.
Hierro is the best at the leadoff spot. His bat kind of got cold in mid-July, so they moved him further down the lineup. But in the leadoff, Hierro bats .344. That's second only to Garrett Chrisman on the team.
The 0-1 pitch. There's that breaking ball in there for a strike, and quickly ahead in the count is Hierro 0-2.
Yeah, good control here by Campbell early, breaking out that fastball, and Hierro's left the bat on the shoulder, but now down in the count, 0-2. Something's got to give here.
The 0-2 pitch, swinging a foul back out of play. You mentioned those good leadoff numbers for Hierro. Is he a guy with a lot of speed out there?
Oh, absolutely, he is. He leads the team with stolen bases with 10. So yeah, anytime that's what you want at the top of your lineup, a guy who can bat pretty decent and who has a lot of speed once he gets on the base paths.
The 0-2 breaking ball misses outside.
Hierro's had a really successful year. He's driven in the game-winning run three times, and he scored the winning run twice this season. Hierro the hero, as we like to call him in Keene.
We have a couple sayings, similar sayings. The 1-2 swung on and missed. Got him with the fastball away, so 1 up and 1 down for Campbell to start the day. His 3rd strikeout of the season.
The shortstop, number 29.
Steven Scott, who's out there in right field. Pretty much all season we've called him Stay Hot Steven Scott. It just feels like he never stops hitting. 10 home runs on the year for him. As Josh Shaw steps up to the plate, the shortstop for the Swamp Bats today, facing Campbell, who's out of the windup. The first pitch is low below the knees.
Shaw, another bat in this lineup that's just heated up. At the last second, he's gotten a hit in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's batting 5 for his last 15 at-bats, batting .364 in his last 5 games combined.
He swings through the breaking ball there. A nice slider out of the hand of Campbell. 1-1 the count. Well, it looks like you guys have a lot of players who have really turned it on over the last 10 games. We'll see Ryan Costello coming to the plate in just a moment. He's got 3 home runs, 8 RBIs over the last 10 games, 11 for 35, hitting .314. So he's a guy to watch out of that 3 spot.
He's had 2 3-run blasts this past week, so yeah, absolutely.
As Campbell just misses there, and you heard the oohs and ahs from the crowd. That was a close pitch on the black. The 3-1. Swinging a ground ball, left side towards Kaiser as he throws over to first. In time, 2 gone. So I mentioned before the game, Tommy, Connor Kaiser out there at short. If it's anywhere close to him, he's pretty much going to make the play. The Gulls coming into today as a team with a .967 fielding percentage. That's their 5th best, or are on pace for their 5th best in team history.
Yeah, and Joshua, and the Keene offense, I talked about this at the top of the broadcast. They have a low batting average and the fewest walks. That's just something that's been bothering them all year is weak contact. You saw the strikeout from Hierro there, but Keene comes into this game with the 2nd fewest strikeouts in the league at 296. So, yeah, that's just one problem Keene's had this year. Even when they work the count, just a lot of times it's been unlucky. They see the ball, but they have struggled to get things in the gap, and they've struggled to hit for power late in the year.
We just saw Costello square around there. An interesting move for the power guy at a 3 spot, but with Harris playing back at 3rd, I kind of like it. He just took the breaking ball in there. Now 0-2 the count. Campbell looking for his 2nd strikeout of the inning in a 1-2-3. He's out of the windup. The pitch way outside.
And Costello's gotten a hit in 10 of his last 12 starts, and now he's batting .314 in his last 10. Overall, average has climbed up to .265 on the year.
The 1-2 misses away. So a late surge in average for him. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, is how they say, especially if you're heading into the playoffs, which Keene could be, potentially.
Remains to be seen.
As Costello fouls that out of play, but we see it with so many sports. Not so much basketball, but a lot of times with baseball or football, it's the teams that go into the playoffs hot to end the season that really make a push. It's not even the teams with the best record a lot of the time that end up winning the championship.
Just ask the New York Giants.
A 2-2 on the way from Campbell. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So 2 strikeouts in the inning by Campbell. A 1-2-3 to start off the game. We head to the bottom of the first inning here at Cardines Field. It is the Swamp Bats nothing, and the Gulls coming to bat here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back to Cardines Field, folks. The Gulls set to take their first cracks at it here tonight. But first, let's get the defensive alignment for the Swamp Bats.
All right, in the outfield, it looks like this for Keene. Going left to right, it's Ryan Costello in left, Jack Marock in center, Jamal Wade in right field. On the base pass, it's Garrett Crispin at third, Joshua Shaw at the shortstop spot. Second baseman's Dom Euro, first baseman Patrick Sullivan. Tommy Lakonga doing the catching. As we mentioned in the previous segment, Zach Hart, the sophomore out of Central Connecticut State, sophomore out of Franklin Pierce University and a Wallingford, Connecticut native, on the mound for his 9th start of the year. Has a 3-3 record, 37 Ks. 7 walks, got a win through 6 innings pitched in his last time out on Wednesday. Struck out 5 and only walked 2, and only 4 hits given up, no runs of any kind in that last performance. So Zach's only had 5 days of rest, and Fabio, Dixon, and Scott, oh my goodness, so much power in those first 3 up. So a lot rides on Zach Hart's performance tonight, because like I mentioned, when Keene has to dip in the bullpen, it's not always pretty. So head coach Jim Negrich and the Swamp Bats need as many innings as possible out of Zach tonight.
So here comes Cole Fabio to the plate as he steps in. Cole Fabio hitting .285 on the year with 1 home run and 21 RBIs. Those 21 RBIs a lot for a leadoff hitter as he fouls that out of play, but it's really been another late surge for him as over the last 10 games hitting .316. That's 3rd on the team behind Troy Dixon and Jake Brote. Troy Dixon hitting, of course, .500 over his last 10 games. So the 0-1 pitch to Fabio missing away.
Yeah, Fabio, just like Dom Euro, a speedy guy you want at the top of your batting order. Fabio has stolen 14 bases on the year. That's most on the team, tied for 4th most in the NECBL.
A pitch outside. For Fabio, those 14 stolen bases, an impressive number. He's only been caught 3 times, so when he goes, he's usually picked his spot pretty nicely. As he swings through the fastball there, 2-2 the count.
Big strike there by Hart. Not a lot of great control on that early breaking ball, but comes back with the fastball on the outside corner and gets Fabio out ahead of it and evens the count back up.
So 2-2 the count here. Hart shakes off Lakongo. Now the pitch is outside. 3-2 to Fabio. Good eyes. What you want to see out of your leadoff hitter. All the guys standing on deck and in the dugout haven't seen Hart yet, so this gives them a chance to kind of pick up what he's going to throw. It's the 3-2 pitch, swung on and blooped towards shallow right, ranging back Sullivan as he makes the catch. 1 gone.
Yeah, nice job by Fabio to see the pitch there on a full count and got a decent hold of it as that one was just, as you mentioned, blooped over towards right field. And Sullivan kind of has the sun in his eyes dancing around first base there, but able to make a nice catch, drifting back from first, and nice start here by the Swamp Bats. Hart had to kind of work the count, kind of work with Fabio, but gets the first out of the inning.
So 1 gone here in the bottom of the first, and here comes Troy Dixon, the NECBL batting average leader. Comes into today hitting .375, 2 home runs, 18 RBIs, 14 doubles, and he hits the first pitch on the ground towards the right side, bobbled lip by Iero, but he throws on to first in time for out number 2. So I was about to say Dixon likes to swing first pitch, and he did right there.
Yeah, the thing with Dom Euro, you saw him as you look at the replay there, you saw him kind of bobble with it. He had 2 errors against Sanford on Saturday night. So, and there's been a couple instances. We played Plymouth last week where he also committed a couple errors. So here lately, he's been a hot bat, but his glove hasn't been as sharp as it has been. But lucky there to pick it back up, just keep a cool head and get the play to first in time.
And Hart looking for a 1-2-3 now as he faces Scott, who takes low with the first pitch. 1-0 the count. It's going to be a tough task facing Scott up there. Scott hitting .284 on the year 10 home runs and 31 RBI, so a power bat as he dribbles that foul. And Hart looking for that 1-2-3, trying to match what Campbell did back in the top half of the first. As this game starting just a little bit later than it was supposed to, the extensive pregame ceremony. Scott takes outside, 2-1.
He's got a lot of power, as you mentioned, a .568 slug percentage. That's 5th best in the NECBL. 10 doubles, tied for 6th most.
Fouls that back out of play, 2-2. Tied for 2nd in home runs and 3rd in RBIs. So 2-2 the count here on Steven Scott. 2 outs in the bottom of the first as Hart with the pitch is taken low. Another 3-2 count here. It was Fabio who led off the game, working it full, and now Scott making Hart work. Trey Harris waits on deck. A payoff pitch to Scott out on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Looked a little bit outside. Scott thought so, but nonetheless he's rung up looking. 1, 2, 3 innings for both Campbell and Hart to start off their days. We head to the top of the 2nd inning. It is the Swamp Bats nothing, the Gulls nothing on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Top of the 2nd set to get underway. It's going to be Aubrey McCarty, the DH today for the Swamp Bats, who will lead things off against Campbell, who looked good in the top half of the first. 2 strikeouts and a ground out to short. Getting his first start out there on the season since being signed just a week or 2 ago. Throw goes down to 2nd by Dixon. As always, a strike. And McCarty steps up to the plate. McCarty's a big guy up there.
Yeah, McCarty coming in as the cleanup hitter, as he has been. He's only been a Swamp Bat for a couple of weeks. Joined the team on July 13th, saying 6'4", 220 pounds, He's a switch hitter. Bats mostly left-handed, but he's tossed relief a couple of times. We've seen him throw left and right-handed, so a switch pitcher and batter, but he's been great in cleanup on a 4-game hitting streak coming into tonight.
Well, the first pitch from Campbell. Hit on the ground, right side. This is going to be a tough play as Campbell has to cover, but he steps on the bag in time. 1 gone, so 1 pitch and 1 out here to start off the top half of the 2nd.
See that a lot from the Swamp Bats, especially in the 2nd and 3rd innings. They like to hack away early, try to shake the starting pitcher, especially a younger guy like Campbell who hasn't started before. And in that case for McCarty, that swing, that pitch took a big hop towards the first base side, kind of that Bermuda triangle between the mound and first base. But a good hustle by Campbell to get off the mound and good communication with Mike Corin at first to complete the 3-1 putout.
So here's Patrick Sullivan, who takes outside. 1-0 the count. Sullivan on the year hitting .216. So he hits that one foul down the first baseline. .216 with 3 home runs and 18 RBIs. The Swamp Bats have a lot of guys with 2 home runs, 2 to 4 home runs, and they have 30 home runs on the year. That's good power numbers.
Yeah, the 30 homers, that's 5th in the NECBL at one time as that pitch misses upstairs for a ball. At one time, Jordan Howard was the NECBL home run leader, and his playing time has been cut significantly just because his batting average has gone down. So, yeah, at one time, the Keene Swamp Bats were the gold standard for hitting home runs in this league.
Well, I remember when I came up there at the beginning of June, I think Howard had 5 or even maybe it was 7 home runs, and since then hasn't hit many.
Hasn't homered since July 11th.
Wow.
He's won for his last 25 at bats.
On the outside corner, a called strike 3 with the curveball. 3rd strikeout of the game for Campbell as he rings up Sullivan looking. So Campbell's looked sharp out there, sophomore out of Clemson. And for the Gulls, pitching-wise, they come into today with a 3.94 ERA on the year. That's 4th in the NECBL. And 779 innings pitched. 413 strikeouts on the year for them. That's first by quite a few. And here comes Jack Marock up to the plate. Takes a first fastball on the outside corner.
Has the longest active hit streak for the Keene Swamp Bats, 8 straight games now with a base hit.
So he's got to be working his average up from close to that Mendoza line. He's now just at 223 on the year. So he swings and hits that one high in the air, back behind home plate. A couple fans nearly make a nice catch, but come up empty.
Yeah, in each of those 8 games, he's only gotten 1 hit, and they've all been singles. So he hasn't been setting the world on fire in the last 8 games, batting .276 in his last 10 overall. So in the last 8, he's gone 8 for 29. He's also struck out 10 times in that stretch.
1-2 pitch is low. Good eye by Maroc.
Last night against Upper Valley, went 1 for 4 with a run scored, had a walk, and also struck out. He has struck out in the last 4 games straight.
That pitch misses away. Now 3-2 the count. Well, the Gulls had a day off yesterday, and they've had a lot of late. The beginning of the season was jam-packed for them, and yet they're still banged up somehow with all these days off. I mean, these players do just come out of the college season, then go right into a summer ball season. But that's important for scouts. They get to see them play, 80, 90 games in a row. They get to test their durability and see some of these guys for extended periods of time, which is important, of course. A 3-2 pitch is high and inside, ball 4. That pitch nearly hit Maroc.
A nice job by Jack there. Took a couple of hacks early, got down in the count, but saw a few pitches. Me and Matt have talked several times, the co-voice of the Swamp Bats. Seems like one common thread we can find when Keene wins games, they see pitches really well. And Jack Maroc has the second most Ks on the team, so good to see him get a free pass there and the first base runner of the game right there for either team.
So there goes the perfect game.
So close.
The first pitch missing away to Chrisman. Campbell out there is throwing hard with the fastball. I'm not sure if we have any guns behind home plate here tonight. Sometimes we benefit from having a scout down there. Jared can kind of shoot me some hand signals as to what these guys are throwing, but not tonight. As the 1-0 pitch catches the outside corner, another good slider. Campbell's slider doesn't have a ton of movement, but it has late break, and he throws it very hard. He, at least so far, hasn't really left it over the heart of the plate. So he comes set with the 1-1 pitch. Swinging a line drive towards left field. That should hang up for Chatfield. It does, as he settles under it and makes the catch to retire the side. So almost a 1-2-3 inning for Campbell, but nonetheless another good inning of work as the Swamp Bats get no runs on no hits. They strand 1. We head to the bottom half of the second here at Cardines Field. Still no score on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Well, Trey Harris gets set to lead things off here for the Gulls in the bottom half of the second inning. And for those folks who followed the Mets playoff run last year and into the beginning of this season, Jonas Cespedes always had that lime green arm sleeve, which Trey Harris is sporting today. He called it the canary sleeve. As Hart gets set for the first pitches of the second inning. And throws one right down the pipe to Harris. 0-1 the count. The 0-1 pitch. Again on the outside corner. Looked like a slider. Harris a little upset. Thought it was away.
A nice start here by Zach Hart. Got Scott rung up looking to end that first inning. And he's got to keep pace with Paul Campbell to keep the Swamp Bats in it. Not a lot of offense on either side. So if Zach Hart can keep up the stellar play, he'll give the Swamp Bats a chance as we go along.
As Trey Harris rips that pitch back into the screen. Harris over his last 10 hitting .250 with 1 home run and 9 RBIs on the year. That 1 home run coming against Plymouth last Wednesday. A defensive cut there. I don't know how he made contact at that pitch. It was way outside.
Yeah, kind of a urgent swing there by Trey Harris down in the count, 0-2. Yeah, kind of had to lunge over the plate to get the tip of the bat on the ball even.
And again, the 1-2 left up. Or sorry, the 0-2, now 1-2 on Harris. Harris collectively for the year, not just over the last 10, hitting .254. As he swings and hits that back up the middle, through the box into center field for a base hit. So Harris leads off here in the bottom half of the second with a single. That gets the Gulls their first hit and base runner of the game. And now that brings up Connor Kaiser, who's in the fifth hole tonight. We usually don't see him there, Tommy. He's usually a little bit farther down.
Yeah, Kaiser, the shortstop, coming up to bat. But going back to Trey Harris's single, he's been phenomenal ever since he joined this team on July 4th. That was his now 19th base hit of the year. He's now gotten a hit in 5 of his last 6 starts.
So here's Connor Kaiser with a runner on and no outs. Pitch from Hart is taken outside. Kaiser was squaring around there. Possibly a sacrifice situation. This has been a situation the Gulls have struggled in all year. I don't think I've actually seen them get down a sacrifice bunt, at least here at Cardines Field. Every time it calls for it, they're never able to quite get it down. So we'll see if Kaiser can do so here.
See Crispin playing tight to the grass at third.
Kaiser is swinging away here as he pops into foul territory, right to Sullivan. One gone.
Nice play there by the Swamp Bats. Zach Hart threw a ball to Kaiser, and then the Gulls seem to be swinging a little bit more early in counts in this inning, so Kaiser swung away on the 1-0 pitch, and Patrick Sullivan, he's been a little bit busy there at the first base spot tonight. Lott hit his direction, and that one popped into foul territory. No problem for him to get the first out.
So here's Chris Chatfield, who struggled with his average all season, but still has 5 home runs and 23 RBIs. Pretty much identical numbers to what he did at University of Florida. Hit around 170 with 7 home runs. As there goes the runner, Harris, throw down to second is going to be not in time. Lacongo bobbled it a little and still almost got him. It'll be a stolen base there for Trey Harris. Chris Chatfield the other night here at home, I wasn't here, but from what I heard, hit a home run that got out of here in about 3 seconds to right field. When he hits them far.
And when Tommy Lacongo throws down to second, I mean, he's got a heck of a cannon. You mentioned it, he bobbled it and still almost got it. If that were a clean throw, Lacongo may have picked him off.
Chatfield hits that on the ground towards second. Hierro throws over to first in time. 2 gone, but that does advance Harris to third on the play, and now it'll be up to Travis Young, who will try to put the first run of the game across for either side.
Yeah, Young's not too particularly clutch in this situation, batting .200 with runners on base, but does bat .294 with runners in scoring position, and that's been a spot where the Gulls have excelled this year as a team, bat .273 when a runner is in scoring position.
And another huge crowd here at Cardines Field for the Gulls.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to look around. These stands around us are packed.
And even though we had a rain out the other day, we still have an average of over 2,000 fans per game here at Cardines Field. I'm sure that number is over the 2,000 number again today, as Young took the first pitch outside. And now the 1-0. Swinging a line drive right side, base hit as it heads into right field. Coming in to score is Harris, and the Gulls score first here as they take a 1-0 lead over the Swamp Bats. Travis Young comes through again after a very slow start.
That's another thing about the Swamp Bats. I mentioned how their batting order struggles to adjust to the starting pitcher they face, but that seems to be a trend sometimes in losses with Keene with their starting pitcher. The second time up, the Gulls get another look at whoever Keene puts on the mound, and then they start to get used to him a little bit. We haven't seen it in a while from Zach Hart. He's gone at least 5 innings his last 3 appearances, but so many times when Keene loses, the second time through and they see that starting pitcher, it always seems like whoever Keene is playing, they make the adjustments.
So here's Mark Powell at the plate now, who got a couple hits over the weekend, which is big for him. He was hitting around .034 over his last 10 games before the weekend. Now hitting 167 over the last 10, and the same could have been said for Travis Young, who's now brought his last 10 average up to 154, 4 hits in the last 26 at-bats, and that is second RBI single in the last couple games, as Powell takes outside, 1-1 the count.
Here's a crazy stat for you on the season. The Swamp Bats are 3-19 when their opponent scores first.
Wow.
1-5 in Southern Division stadiums this season.
A snap throw down to first, and just back in safely is Young. We saw Lukongo threaten to do that on the last pitch, and Young didn't shorten up at all, and he nearly got him down there at first. So the count's still 2-1 here to Powell. A pitch from Hart, taken outside, 3-1 the count. It'll be Mike Corrin waiting on deck. Corrin over the last 4 games is 0 for 11. A 3-1 pitch, swinging a foul back into the screen by Powell.
One thing that's uncharacteristic about Zach Hart in this game, and anyone who's watched the Swamp Bats when he plays, he really reloads quickly. I remember calling games early in the season when he was on the mound. I'd barely have a chance to breathe in between pitches, but here he's shaking off Lukongo a little bit. He's being more patient, maybe a little bit more conservative, really thinking about what he wants to do pitch by pitch.
As a 3-2 swung on and missed by Powell. So Hart gets out of the inning with a strikeout there, but he does surrender the first run of the game on the RBI single by Travis Young. The Gulls get 1 on 2 hits, and we head to the top half of the third here at Cardines Field. It's the Gulls 1, Swamp Bats nothing here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back, folks. Almost set for the top half of the third here, but first let's send it over to Shannon O'Connell for an update of games around the league here tonight. Shannon?
All right, Mystic is up 4-0 against Danbury at top of the third at Rogers Park. And then the doubleheader that was supposed to be Maxfield Sports Complex, Vermont versus Upper Valley, has been delayed because of the rain. And then up at Mackenzie Stadium, it's tied at 0, top of the third, Winnipesaukee versus Valley. And then North Adams, Sanford, it's tied at 0 at Goodall Park. And then, as you know, right here, it's 1-0 Gulls at Cardines Field.
Thanks, Shannon. I spoke wrong earlier when I said that Winnipesaukee First Valley had been rained out. They are playing, and they're locked in a pitching duel so far. As Shannon said, 0-0 in the third inning there.
Yeah, Shane Ennis starting for the Valley Blue Sox. He's been solid through 3 innings and struck out 2. And Mike Gentile, a starter that the Swamp Bats have seen a couple of times this year through 2 innings, has only given up 1 hit and through 6 batters faced. So only 1 base hit per team in that game so far. Winnipesaukee currently top of the third, 1 out, nobody on. So bit of a pitcher's duel right there. I've been eyeing that game like a hawk. If the Newport Gulls win their home finale and the Muskrats find a way against Valley, season over for the Swamp Bats.
So here's Jamal Wade leading off the top half of the third inning here for the Swamp Bats. And if anyone's been keeping pace with Troy Dixon over the last 10, it's Wade. He's hitting .500 over his last 10.
9 for 18. He's on a 4-game hitting streak. He's hitting 8 of his last 16 at bats. So yeah, he's been able to get multiple base hits in his last few appearances.
See, dribbles that one foul down the first base line. Quickly 0-2. That was a good pitch by Campbell. He came outside with the fastball to start off the at-bat and then wasn't afraid to come right inside on Wade, jammed him. And now a chance for his 4th strikeout of the game.
His last 4 starts have been multi-hit games. 2 for 4 against Sanford on the 26th. 2 for 5, a pair of runs scored against Valley on last Wednesday. 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored against the Mainers on Saturday. And then last night up at Upper Valley, 2 for 4, a pair of singles.
Well, the Gulls will look to stop that here as he takes inside.
Yeah, he was kind of in a funk there in July, in early July, late June, from June 25th through June 29th, did not get a single hit. He went 0 for 3 with a walk against Newport.
As he tries to check his swing, they check down to first, and they say he did not go around. Good pitch by Campbell, a breaking ball. As the count now even at 2-2.
His average is up to 290. It's the highest it's been all year for Jamal.
A 2-2 pitch on the way from Campbell. Breaking ball swung on and hit deep to right field. Scott broke in to start, now ranges back and makes the catch just in front of the fence out there and right, 1 gone.
Good at bat there by Wade. He worked the count, got some foul contact, was seeing the ball, and I thought that one had a chance to be a base hit. It's a 28-foot chain link fence out there, so takes a bit more mustard to get a home run in this park. But, yeah, good at bat. He got a good look at the pitch, but excellent play by the right fielder, Steven Scott, to get the first out, because maybe hit a little bit higher. That could have been 2 bases for Jamal.
And now that brings up Tommy Lacongo for Campbell out there on the mound. He's cruising so far. Coach Leyva before the game said he'd probably give him about 4 innings. He wants to use about 4 pitchers in this game. But if he continues to throw the way he has been, before the playoffs, you might be able to justify resting some of those bullpen guys, as Lacongo fouls that pitch back into the screen. Quickly 0-2 here.
It's a scary thing for Keene if they have a 3-game playoff tournament tomorrow, or a head-on game with a Winnipesaukee or something. Hart's their last real good starter. Who they would start after Zach becomes a real mystery. They picked up a couple of middle relievers from Keene State that have been starting lately, and they haven't gone much more than 2-3 innings.
That breaking ball left up by Lacongo. Sorry, not Lacongo, by Campbell to Lacongo. And that's been a trouble spot for Campbell today, that breaking ball, as he again just misses with it.
Dangerous no swing there by Lacongo. Ball had a lot of late break on it, just missed down in the zone. Lacongo, one of the only Swamp Bat not to get a base hit last night, went 0 for 3.
A 2-2 pitch swung on and missed. Strike 3, another strikeout here for Campbell, his 4th of the game, as he blew it by Lacongo. 2 gone here in the top of the 3rd. So we head back to the top. Damiero at the plate, struck out his first time up.
Mentioned it in the pregame show, the Swamp Bats struggle to adjust to the starting pitcher through the second trip of the lineup. See if Damiero, Shaw, Costello, any of these hot batters, Garrett Chrisman, see if they make the adjustments against Campbell the second time up.
The first pitch, a nice, sharp, what looked like a curveball there from Campbell. Finds the plate, 0-1 the count. Campbell with just about 40 pitches on the day, 42. Through 2 2/3 innings. Pitches misses up to Hierro.
He was the first strikeout victim for Paul Campbell. He struck out Hierro on a 1-2 count to lead off the top of the first inning. Yeah, Campbell set the tone early, and he hasn't really let up.
The pitch swung on and missed. Another good fastball. Campbell is throwing very hard out there on the mound here at the beginning of the game. Finally getting that opportunity to start from Coach Leyva and trying to prove a point here, potentially not just for Coach Leyva, but also for the Clemson coaches. As he strikes out Hierro there with a fastball away. 5th strikeout of the game for Campbell. We head to the bottom of the 3rd. It's the Gulls 1 and the Swamp Bats nothing here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Well, Mike Corin, and then the top of the order here for the Gulls as we get set for the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Things rolling right along here at Cardines Field and the season finale, at least the regular season finale. Gulls Swamp Bats, the Gulls with a 1-0 lead here. 7:22, a perfect night for baseball, not too hot, not too cold. The first pitch to Corin taken up.
Corin still seeking his first hit as a Newport Gull, 0 for his first 11, a late addition from the University of Rhode Island. Grew up in Coventry, right here in his home state.
He fouls that back into the screen. And Corin was much needed. The Gulls had a lot of players leave. We mentioned the 13 players leave on the season. And Shane Matheny, who was their 3rd baseman, a tremendous 3rd baseman, went out with an elbow injury, so they need to find someone quick who is capable of potentially playing that position, and Corin came in, and he's that guy who, if needed, can go out there. So he takes up and away, now 2-1 the count.
Yeah, Corin hit 5 triples and 6 homers for the Rams this past year.
As he ropes that into left field, another leadoff single for the Gulls. First hit of the season for Mike Corin. Grab that baseball. And now that'll bring up Cole Fabio. So the Gulls start off the bottom of the 3rd the exact same way they started off the 2nd with a single.
And relievers Dylan Spordone and David Druin trotting their way out towards the bullpen down there on the 3rd base side. So We'll see if they start warming up here. Zach Hart, like I mentioned, I was a little bit worried in the pregame show after only having 5 days of rest coming off a 7-inning performance, how long it would take for Newport to start getting on a rhythm.
So here's Fabio, who flew out to the first baseman Sullivan his first time up. He takes the fastball in the outside corner. Chrisman is in on the grass at third. Sullivan, of course, holding on Corin over there at first. The 0-1 pitch, swinging a line drive, foul, first base line, quickly 0-2 here to Fabio.
Fabio, last time these two teams met, June 28th, went 1 for 5, had an RBI and 2 Ks. Game that was scoreless through the first 4 innings, went to extras, a lot of late game drama.
1 for 5 doesn't sound like a good number, but for that game it was. Not many players hitting the ball in that pitching duel. Well, I mean, there were a lot of hits, but both pitchers were able to strand a lot of runners.
And that win for Keene, they come in here coming off that win over Upper Valley. They haven't won consecutive games since beating Newport. That was their 3rd win in a row. So This would be win number 3 in a row if the Swamp Bats could pull it off. First time in over a month.
And that pitch gets away from Lukongo. He's having trouble finding it, and Corin's going to head first to third on the play as the throw goes down. He's in safely. It's going to be a wild pitch there on Hart, and what happened was it was just a breaking ball, kind of hit off the corner of the plate or the knee pads of Lukongo, bounced straight up in the air, and he was unable to locate it, allowing Corin to go first to third, and the Gulls look poised to score their 2nd run of the game here as the infield comes in.
Yeah, nobody out, and they got a runner 90 feet away, and that's something the Swamp Bats have struggled with all year. Come in with this game, 43 wild pitches, 3rd most in the NECBL. They've also hit the most batters out of anybody in the league.
Pitch taken outside there by Fabio. So 2-2 the count. Fabio did find himself behind 0-2. He's evened it up. This is a big situation for him. A 2-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball left side. Hit towards Shaw, who looks the runner back and throws on to first. In time, 1 gone. So the infield comes in and pays off there for the Swamp Bats.
Huge play there by Josh Shaw. Took 1 look at Mike Corin at third and didn't go. That ball was just a dribbler into the infield. So Shaw, good look, and then he turns and a big quick throw. It looked a little high at first to Sullivan, but it dropped in there just in time to retire Fabio. A lot of speed by Cole at the leadoff spot, as we mentioned. So big first out, but still Newport a runner 90 feet away and still 2 outs to go.
So here's Troy Dixon, runners in scoring position. This year he's hitting .300 with 11 RBIs. A first pitch to Dixon, taken outside, 1-0. For the game, I told Dixon I wanted to see a 3-for-4 game. He's already 0-for-1 up there at the plate, so he's got to rattle off a couple hits in a row here. A 1-0 pitch, swinging a line drive, right side, hit right at Hierro, who comes home with it as Corin broke for the plate, and he's going to be out. So bad base running mistake there by Corin with the infield playing in. I'm a little confused as to why he went home.
Yeah, he didn't have to go. That's a 4-2 fielder's choice, so Dixon is safe at first. But yeah, Fabio just took off running kind of late, too, like well after the ball was hit. So interesting choice by Fabio, wanting to put his team up 2-0, but instead the game remains a 1-run ball game. Instead of having a runner 90 feet away, he got a runner at first with 2 gone.
If you're going to go there with the infield in, you can't break on first contact. You at least got to wait till that throw goes over to first and then try to cross the home plate. So here's Steven Scott, who swings through the fastball. 0-1 the count. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Gulls had a runner on third, nobody out. And now with just a runner on first and 2 outs, they were unable to capitalize. As Hart comes set. Checks the runner, the 0-1, swinging a foul back, 0-2.
Yeah, the Swamp Bats could get out of this 3rd inning without giving up a run after Corin led off with the single and then the wild pitch and the Fabio at bat. That would be a big relief.
Scott, with runners on base this year, hitting .299 with 6 home runs and 27 RBIs. The 0-2 pitch, check swing foul. See if he can keep this inning alive. It'd be Trey Harris, who waits on deck. Harris is 1 for 1 with a run scored. Hart comes set, the pitch. Curveball hit in the air to deep left field. Ranging back on it is Chrisman, and it is going to be over his head as it heads to the wall. Dixon rounds third. He's being waved home by Coach Leyva. The relay comes in, and it is not in time. An RBI double there for Scott, and the Gulls take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, so much of getting out of this inning with no damage done. Hart did all he could, putting Scott down 0-2, but as you mentioned, a curveball by Hart, kind of an off-speed thing, and Scott got a great look at it. Hart left that one up in the zone, and Scott just crushed that thing to left field. Chrisman was running right to left, got on his horse, but that one hit just a little too high, getting off the chain link fence. Chrisman had to dig it out. Not a bad relay throw, but nowhere near in time, as we've seen all season. As you guys have seen, Troy Dixon, a lot of speed to get around the bases, and plenty of time to give his team a 2-0 lead.
So here's Trey Harris with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs. Takes the fastball on the outside corner, 0-1. Trey Harris on the year with runners in scoring position, 2 outs, hitting .364 with 1 home run and 8 RBI. So he likes this situation. Hart comes set to the belt now. The 0-1 pitch, swinging a foul back out of play. That double by Scott was interesting. Costello got a good jump out there and left, but the ball just kept slicing off the bat of the lefty, and he just missed it as it bounced right up against the bottom of the fence right out there by that Sullivan Tire sign. And the count now quickly 0-2 here to Harris as Hart leans in.
That was the first extra bases hit of the game for the Newport Gulls.
First extra base hit, 3rd hit of the game.
And they come into this game with 79 doubles. That's second most in the NECBL. They do well with extra bases.
And the 0-2 swinging a ground ball right side. Taken by Sullivan, who will take it himself to retire the side. But the Gulls do get 1 run here on the 2-out RBI double by Steven Scott. As we head to the top of the 4th inning here at Cardines Field, it is the Gulls with a 2-0 lead over the Swamp Bats on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
We have Cameron and Cooper running.
Welcome back, folks, as we get set for the top half of the 4th. It's the Gulls with a 2-0 lead over the Swamp Bats. And here to take you through innings 4, 5, and 6, voice of the Swamp Bats, Tommy Rezoch.
Thank you very much, Tolan. Very best of evenings to you all on this 1st of August as the Swamp Bats find themselves in a 2-0 deficit. The Swamp Bats have only won twice away from Keene since July 1st, and they're 1-5 in Southern Division stadiums, and they find themselves in an early hole here. So it'll be Joshua Shaw, Ryan Costello, Aubrey McCarty, the first 3 up, as Paul Campbell, the Clemson Tiger, re-climbing the hill, and he has been phenomenal through his first 3 innings, striking out 5, only allowing 1 walk, no hits of any kind so far. Shaw stands in, takes the first pitch, misses high and tight. It's 1-0. Shaw 0 for 1 in this game, grounded out to short back in the first inning. The Big East Freshman of the Year, Joshua Shaw, was second team All Big East, a Louisville Slugger All-American team member, as that 1-0 pitch is lined hard back toward the screen and shakes the camera there on the chain link fence. So the count runs 1 ball and 1 strike. For you Swamp Bat fans listening, bottom of the 4th in Holyoke, 1 out, still no score between Valley and Winnipesaukee. Swamp Bats fall, Winnipesaukee wins, season over. We'll keep you up to date. 1-1 from Campbell. Breaking ball misses low, squirts out of the glove of Troy Dixon, but nobody on base, no harm done, and the count runs 2 balls and a strike to Shaw.
So for Campbell on the day, 49 pitches, almost to that 50 pitch mark through 3 innings.
As the 2-1 pitch, that'll miss downstairs for a ball, so nice job here by Shaw at the top of the Swamp Bat order to look at a few pitches. He's ahead in the count, 3 balls and a strike. Top of the 4th, nobody on, nobody out, 2-0 Gulls with the lead. Shaw last night went 0 for 3 with a run scored, did reach on a hit by pitch. Also had a sac fly in the game. And the 3-1, that'll miss downstairs on the fastball, so aboard with the walk is Joshua Shaw. only the second walk of the day that Paul Campbell has issued, and for Joshua Shaw on the season, that gives him 4 free passes on the year.
Yeah, second walk of the game there for Campbell, but other than that, he's looked pretty sharp. It's usually been the breaking ball that's given him trouble here today as a look to try to figure it out against Costello.
Yeah, Ryan Costello, the sophomore left fielder out of Central Connecticut State, 0 for 1. He struck out back in the first. He was the second strikeout victim of Paul Campbell's. Campbell looks in for the sign. First pitch, bouncer in the dirt. Good block by Troy Dixon as Shaw was taking a pretty healthy lead off first. That could have resulted in a stolen base. But the count runs 1-0. Costello coming in 2 of his last 8 at-bats. He scored 2 runs in each of his last 2 starts. Had a 3-run homer against Sanford on Saturday. Went 1 for 4 with a pair of runs scored against Upper Valley yesterday. Had a double and a walk in that game. Average is up to 265 on the season, and that's good for 5th best on the Swamp Bats. This is his 37th start of the year. He has scored 19 runs off 35 hits, has 5 doubles, a triple, and 4 home runs. Those 4 homers are now second most on the team. 2 of those home runs coming this past week. Had a homer against Valley last Wednesday. The 1-0 pitch, that'll miss downstairs, so now it's 2-0, and out to have a word with his pitcher is Troy Dixon. So early in this 4th inning, Paul Campbell losing his touch just a little bit, and out comes, I believe, the pitching coach for Newport.
Morehart.
Yep. So we'll have an infield pitching conference here.
Morehart just going out there trying to calm down Campbell a little bit. Campbell, who looked so good through 3 innings. As Tommy mentioned, just struggling a little bit with command here, and the Gulls need him to get through at least 4. Coach Lavin mentioned he has 4 relief pitchers if needed here tonight.
There are some bodies down there in the Newport bullpen, but no stretching or throwing of any kind. Paul Campbell up to 29 strikes and 24 balls, so he's north of the 50-pitch mark. And Costello's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Nobody out. Runner at first is Joshua Shaw here in the top of the 4th. Swamp Bats trying to cut into the lead, while Newport trying to even the season series. Swamp Bats beat the Newport Gulls back on June the 28th. A walk-off win, a 2-1 victory in 11 innings as the 2-0 pitch, that'll miss upstairs. So the first 2 pitches of the at-bat he put in the dirt, but this one he leaves elevated, and Costello in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. Campbell in this inning alone has now thrown 7 balls to only 1 strike. As the 3-0 breaking ball misses way outside, and aboard with a 4-pitch walk is Ryan Costello. Consecutive free passes now by Paul Campbell, and the Swamp Bats for the first time today have a couple runners aboard, so the tying runs are on, and up comes the lead runner at the plate, the cleanup hitter, Aubrey McCarty.
And not what you like to see there from Campbell, especially after the mound visit, as we see pitching coach Daryl Morehart quickly jog down to the bullpen. I expect someone's going to get up and warming there.
McCarty standing in. He's pretty good against right-handed pitchers, .333 on the year. He's been everything you could ask for a late-arriving cleanup hitter for the Swamp Bats. He's 0 for 1 in this game. Grounded out to first back in the second. Takes the first pitch. There's a called strike on the inside corner. 0-1. Nice adjustment there by Campbell to refine the zone. McCarty played at Vanderbilt originally, then transferred to Florida A&M, sat out 2016 due to NCAA transfer rules. The 0-1 cut on and fouled back toward the wooden backstop just below the chain link fence, and that thing, every time a ball hits it, it just kind of takes a few bounces around, and McCarty down in the count, 0-2. Aubrey with runners on base this year, batting .222 in 18 at-bats. With runners in scoring position, bats only .091. Campbell eyeing the runner, Shaw at second, kicks and fires. That pitch is lined into left field. That's a base hit. Being hauled up at third is Joshua Shaw, so that is a single into shallow left field. That will load the bases, and the Swamp Bats have a threat going here in the top of the 4th with the bases juiced and nobody out, and up comes Patrick Sullivan.
I understand that call there, holding the lead runner Shaw at third, but the scouting report on Chatfield is that he does not have a good arm out in there in left, and Shaw definitely probably would have been safe had he been waved around to come home.
Yeah, Shaw certainly has the speed, but Jim Negrich just trying to play it safe here. The Swamp Bats don't want to do anything to get themselves in trouble. Bases loaded, nobody out. Not a bad scenario, as up comes Patrick Sullivan. And the Swamp Bats do thrive with bases loaded, batting .346 as a team. First pitch to Sullivan. Ooh, that was fast, but it missed upstairs and tight. And it's 1-0. Sullivan 0 for 1. He struck out looking back in the second inning. For the Swamp Bats, after being put down in order in the first and the third, suddenly get their first 3 men aboard here in the top of the fourth. Quite the turnaround. The 1-0. Breaking ball misses downstairs and inside, so it's 2-0. Paul in a big jam right now. Nobody out, bases loaded, top of the fourth. Goals still up 2-0, but the lead run is aboard at first. Sullivan himself with bases loaded. 0 for 2 in at-bats so far. And that pitch is a one-hop to the first baseman. Throw home. Shaw is out at first, so it'll be, I believe, a 4-2 fielder's choice. So Shaw is out at home. Sullivan advances to first. There are still bases loaded, but big thing there for Newport. The run does not score, and there's one away. Goodness gracious, what a big catch and relay throw by the first baseman, Mike Corrin. And up comes Jack Marock, the Nebraska native.
Well, pretty routine play there for Corrin down at first. Coming home with it to Dixon, made the right call, and that's a big out there for Campbell. And a nice job by him getting the ground ball.
And the first pitch to Marock is taken for a called strike, 0-1. And I agree, it was hit in his general vicinity, and he did his job. But that ball took a nasty hop. I thought maybe that was going to bloop over him and get in a shallow right. But a great leap by Corrin to make the catch, and a nice tag applied by Troy Dixon as well to get his foot on the bag. 0-1 is taken for a called strike, 0-2. Jack Marock quickly behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Marock did walk back in the second inning. He was the only base runner for Keene prior to this inning. Bases loaded, 1 out, top of the fourth. Still a 2-0 ball game. Swamp Bats have struggled with leaving runners on base this year. The 0-2 pitch. Fastball just missed upstairs. The Gulls can't believe it, but the count runs 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that was a good pitch from Campbell, and he's a little upset there at the mound. Looked like it was a strike. He just missed his spot, which gave the appearance that Dixon had to move his glove more than usual, and sometimes that can fool an umpire.
Campbell gets the sign he wants from Dixon. 1-2 pitch. Cut on. This one popped high into center field. Drifting back is Travis Young. This should be deep enough to score a run. Here comes from third base. That's Ryan Costello. Relay throw just barely missed it. And Ryan Costello does slide home. A sac fly to center by Jack Marock. There are 2 away, but the Swamp Bats are on the board. It's 2-1. They cut the lead in half.
Well, what a throw here by Young. Nearly had him at the plate, just didn't quite have enough mustard on it.
So now runners at second and third. McCarty advances to second. It's Sullivan at second, McCarty at third now. So big thing there for the Swamp Bats. They were able to at least get 1 run on the board. There are now 2 away, and up comes Garrett Chrisman. Chrisman 0 for 1 in this game. Flew out to left back in the second inning. Chrisman bats .226 with runners on base, only .214 with runners in scoring position. First pitch to Garrett. Misses high and tight, 1-0. Chrisman out of Butler University, a Nobles, Indiana native. Was a draft pick by the San Francisco Giants in the 34th round back in 2014. The 1-0 pitch. Misses outside on the breaking ball. It's 2-0. Slider there by Campbell, left elevated. Chrisman coming in, and he's been swinging a hot stick as of late. Went 2 for 5 last night against Upper Valley. Scored a run, a season-high 2 doubles in that game. Had a pair of ribbies as well. Comes in batting .261. 13 runs scored off 30 hits. 5 doubles, a triple, 6 RBIs. It's been walked 11 times. Campbell coming set, kicks and fires, the 2-0. Breaking ball just missed upstairs. Good late break on the pitch, but left it high, and Chrisman ahead in the count, 3-0. So if Chrisman gets aboard with the walk, the bases will be reloaded. Campbell did walk his first 2 batters faced in this inning, Shaw and Costello. Here comes Campbell, the 3-0. Cut on and line back toward the screen, so the count is now 3 balls and a strike.
First base is open here, but if you're Campbell, you want to go after Chrisman here with Jamal Wade on deck, who's been red hot lately.
Last time Chrisman faced the Newport Gulls, went 0 for 3, had a walk, and struck out 3 times. 3-1 pitch by Campbell, cut on, and that is a grounder towards first. That is gloved nicely by Corrin. He'll touch the bag just in time. Chrisman was on his horse on the first base bag, but a good unassisted put out by Mike Corrin to retire the side and preserve the lead for the Newport Gulls. So in that inning, the Swamp Bats do get a run off of 1 hit. There were no errors and 2 runners left on base. Through 3.5 innings, it's the Newport Gulls 2, Swamp Bats 1. You're listening to the NECBL Broadcast Network. Due up for the Newport Gulls as we start the bottom of the 4th inning from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Tommy Rezoch, Tolan Vaquero rejoining you. It'll be 5, 6, and 7 due up. Connor Kaiser, the shortstop, to lead off, followed by Chris Chatfield and Travis Young. Zach Hart reclimbing the mound for the Keene Swamp Bats, and the Gulls have been able to kind of figure him out a little bit. They have notched. The Gulls have 4 hits over the last 2 innings combined. Have gotten a run in the 2nd and 3rd, and they'll look to continue the trend here in the 4th. As Kaiser looks at the first pitch, it's a breaking ball that misses outside, 1-0.
Connor's first time up, flew out to the first baseman, Sullivan.
1-0 pitch, that's a fastball missing upstairs, so it's 2-0.
As a leadoff hitter on the year, hitting 167 with 1 home run and 4 walks is Kaiser.
Hart gets the sign, working a little quicker in this inning, 2-0, off-speed pitch in there for a called strike, it's 2-1. Update for you Swamp Bat fans listening. Bottom of the 5th inning we go at Holyoke with 1 out, still no score. Between this, as the 2-1 pitch is in for a called strike, it's 2-2. The Winnipesaukee Muskrats had a runner at second with 2 away in the top of the 5th. They've had 3 hits total, but unable to bring a run across, so the pitching duel continue in Massachusetts. 2-2 pitch is grounded toward Shaw at first, who's up with it, throw to first. And Kaiser is retired 6-3 on the putout, grounded toward short, throw to Sullivan, out number 1. So after giving up the RBI double to Steven Scott, Zach Hart has been able to get his last 2 goals in order, retired. And up comes Chris Chatfield. Chatfield, the left fielder, 0 for 1 today, grounded out to second, back in the 2nd inning. Hart into his windup, the pitch. That one lifted into right field. Running back for it is Jamal Wade. Looking at it, he'll make the catch just in front of the 28-foot tall chain link fence. And everyone was kind of holding their breath here at Cardines Field, but nice grab by Wade. Chatfield swinging on the first offering, got squared up on the pitch, got a good look at it, but quickly 2 up, 2 down for Newport.
Yeah, Chatfield there just hit it off the end of the bat. When Chatfield usually squares up a ball like that, it's going to go out unless, of course, it's in on the hands or off the end of the bat, and that's why everyone kind of stood up here at Cardines.
So now 2 gone, bottom of the 4th. Newport continuing to lead it here at home, 2-1. Newport 11-10 this year at Cardines Field. Up comes Young. He's 1 for 1 with an RBI and a single back in the 2nd inning. He takes the first pitch. It's a fastball missing outside. It's 1-0. Hart again working quickly in this inning, reloads the 1-0, off speed in there on the outside corner for a called strike, 1-1. Travis Young, sophomore out of Wichita State, comes out of Derby, Kansas, as the 1-1 is cut on and missed, and the count now runs 1 ball and 2 strikes. Travis Young last saw action against Mystic on July 30th. These Newport Gulls did have the day off yesterday. He went 0 for 3 with a walk and 2 Ks his last time up as the 1-2 is cut on and missed. And Zach Hart gets his 3rd K of the day. And for the 2nd time in this game, the Newport Gulls are put down in order 1-2-3. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. After 4 innings of play here in Rhode Island, the score remains Newport 2, Keene Swamp Bats 1 on the NECBL Broadcast Network. We have a pitching change on the mound for the first time today for the Newport Gulls as we're ready to start the top of the 5th inning from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Tommy Rezoch, Tolan Vaquero, and Tolan, that's Matthew McGarry warming up out there. What can you tell us about the right-handed pitcher?
Yeah, well, Matthew McGarry on the year, he's been a little wild, and he had a couple starts and then a couple bad outings. So since then, he's been out of the pen, but a 6.16 ERA for him on the year, 1-3, 19 innings of work, 6 hits, those 21 walks in the 19 innings of work, that number that stands out for you, in the 26 strikeouts. So he can strike out a guy, but he also tends to walk a lot of batters.
Yeah, he's walked the most batters out of anybody in the Newport bullpen, so he will face off against 8, 9, and 1 for the Swamp Bats. Be Jamal Wade, the right fielder, to lead off, followed by the catcher Tommy Lacongo, and back to the top of the order with second baseman Dom Yero. And the bottom of the Swamp Bat order has not been super productive today, only 0 for, they're now 0 for 4. Swamp Bats did have a threat going in the bottom of the 4th inning. Shaw and Costello were walked consecutively, and then a single by McCarty loaded the bases, and it was a sac fly by Jack Marock that scored Keene's first and only run in this game as they continue to trail it 2-1. So here comes Jamal Wade. We mentioned it. Jamal has swung a hot stick as of late, coming into this game batting .500 in his last 5 games. He is 0 for 1, flew out to right field back in the 3rd. It's a high fly out to Steven Scott over there. The first pitch, called strike, 0-1.
Little heat on that fastball from McGarry in there to Wade. Hopefully McGarry can figure out the control issues.
0-1, there's a fastball, called strike, 0-2, and he seems to have it figured out at least so far in his first at-bat. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes to Jamal Wade, the native of Owings Mills, Maryland. McGarry working quite a bit quicker than the starter, Paul Campbell, but now kind of shaking off the catcher Dixon a couple times now in his windup. The 0-2 fastball, just missed upstairs, and the count runs 1-2. Jamal Wade, as we mentioned, coming in on a 4-game hitting streak, went 2 for 4 against the Nighthawks last night. Played against Newport, went 0 for 3 with a walk. Back on June 28th, the 1-2 cut on and missed. And Wade is down by way of the K. First strikeout of the day for Matthew McGarry. The 6th different Swamp Bat to strike out in this game. And we're to the bottom of the order with Tommy Lacongo.
Well, a nice first batter of the game there for McGarry, and that's what you want to see after having some control issues his last couple times out. Came in, pound the strike zone there, gets the K of Wade. Hopefully he can continue that here against Lacongo.
McGarry, the sophomore out of Vanderbilt, and he takes the first pitch to Lacongo, and that's lifted into left field. Actually lined more like it. It's a base hit as it took a couple of hops past the shortstop Connor Kaiser. So on with a 1-out single is Tommy Lacongo. He's 1 for his last 13 at-bats coming in, but comes through with a nice base hit there for the Swamp Bats. Only the second base hit of the evening for Keene, and we're back to the top of the order with Dom Euro.
McGarry continued to pound the strike zone there, just left it a little bit too much out over the heart of the plate. Lacongo made him pay, and it's a nice attempt by Kaiser out there at short with a dive, but it went just under his glove.
McGarry's last appearance as a relief pitcher came back on July 22nd. Home game against Vermont. Newport lost it 2-1, but he was pretty solid in relief. 4 innings pitched, gave up only 2 hits, struck out 5 and walked 4. So let's see how he does here against the Swamp Bats as his first pitch to Euro misses downstairs for a ball, 1-0. Dom, the senior out of Kent State, native of North Canton, Ohio, is 0 for 2 in this game. Struck out in the first and the third. Both of those swinging. But as I mentioned, Euro is clutch in the leadoff spot as the 1-0 pitch is lifted high, foul out of play, up and over the grandstands on the third base side. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike. So Dom on the season bats .344 as the leadoff guy. Bats .265 with runners on. Runner at first is Tommy Lacongo. 1 away here in the top of the 5th. 2-1 Newport Gulls with the lead. The 1-1 pitch, cut on and missed, and the count runs 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mentioned this in the pregame show. Newport at 24-19. Every year since their inaugural season in 2001, they have never settled for anything less than 25 wins. So Newport, even though they have the 2 seed in the Southern Division locked up for postseason play, still a lot of pride to play for here tonight. The 1-2 pitch misses downstairs, and the count runs even to Dom. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a benchmark win total. The Gulls don't want to snap that here. No team wants to be that one to not get to that 25 win marker. And the Gulls, with the double play opportunity here, they have 28 on the season.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, cut on, lifted weakly to the infield. Up with it, or making the call, I should say, is Cole Fabio, and he'll make the catch just shy of the grass there on the inner edge of the infield. There are 2 away that will hold Lacongo at first, and up comes Joshua Shaw. So Euro coming in here with a really hot stick, has not had the night he wants, now drops to 0 for 3. Up comes Joshua Shaw, who's 0 for 1. Walked in the last inning. He was thrown out at home trying to score back in that 4th inning. As the first pitch to him, breaking ball in the outside corner, in there for a called strike, 0-1. Shaw was the only Swamp Bat not to get a hit, one of only 2 Swamp Bats, he and Lacongo not to get a hit, but did reach base and score a run off a hit by pitch. Went 2 for 5 with a pair of runs against Sanford on Saturday as the 0-1 pitch in there. Called strike quickly, 0-2 to Shaw.
McGarry looks good here so far, and I like this move from the Gulls coaching staff, bringing him in right before the playoffs, trying to rebuild that confidence.
Here's the 0-2. Fastball just missed upstairs to the displeasure of the home crowd here, and the count runs 1-2. That is Steven Durant's behind the plate. David Viveros in the field.
Yeah, Durant's really not giving anything up around the letters here tonight.
And looking at the runner at first is McGarry. That's Tommy Lacongo as he just kind of cocks his head over there. Tommy Lacongo is not a threat to steal bases. I think only one on the year. The 1-2 is swung on, hit back toward the screen. Ryan Costello, who was warming up in the batter's box, kind of had to duck out of the way as that one lined his direction, and the count is now still 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner aboard at first. Top of the 5th, Newport 2, Swamp Bats 1. And the Swamp Bats, mentioning postseason play, they made the playoffs every year except their first and last season, 98 and 2015, as the 1-2 is lifted into left field. Falling under it is Chris Chatfield, and he will make the catch just a few feet away from the fence in left center, and the Swamp Bats are retired. So in that inning for Keene, they do get a hit, no runs, no errors, 1 runner left on base. After 4.5, we're halfway home here in Newport, and the Gulls lead it here at home 2-1 over Keene on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Due up for the Gulls as we start the bottom of the 5th inning from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Tommy Rezoch, Tolan Vaquero rejoining you here. Mark Powell, Mike Corin, and Cole Fabio 8-9-1 in order as Zach Hart reclimbs the hill. And Tolan, from what we've seen, it's kind of been an up and down affair for Zach Hart through the first 4 innings. He has given up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, but he's also struck out 3 and has walked none so far.
Yeah, he really hasn't looked bad, and just that 2-out situation with Steven Scott really, the big blow. Otherwise, this game could be tied up. But if the Gulls want to go far in the postseason, they're going to need, just to change subjects a little bit, they're going to need the bottom of their order to step it up heading into that playoff series as Mark Powell steps to the plate, struck out his first time up, and he's really been struggling of late.
Well, the bottom 3 in general has done well. They're 2 for 4. Young singled, and Corin also singled in the 7 and 9 spots respectively as Mark Powell, the DH, batting 8th. He is 0 for 1 with a K, and he looks at the first pitch. It is a ball, 1-0. Hart reloads. 1-0, called strike as that one dropped down in the zone at the last second, and it's now ball and a strike here in the bottom of the 5th. Still a 2-1 ball game. Hart working quickly, the 1-1. Cut on, that is grounded right towards Hero at second. He gloves it, throw to Sullivan at first, and Powell is retired 4-3 on the putout. Now the last 5 Gulls have been put down in order since that RBI double by Steven Scott. 1 away, we're to the bottom of the order with Mike Corin.
And Corin, his last time up, roped a single into left field. That was his first hit as a Newport Gull. He had an 0 in his first 11 at-bats.
And he looks at the first pitch. That'll miss downstairs for a ball. It's 1-0. Yeah, Corin now in his 13th at-bat of the year. He's now 1 for 12 as the 1-0. That'll miss high and tight for a ball. It's 2-0. Corin, his first game came on July 25th against Danbury. He did score a run after getting hit by a pitch in that game. So he now has 2 runs scored on the season as the 2-0 pitch is fouled right back to the fence right in front of me. And it's 2-1.
Both of us flinch up here.
Yeah.
Even though there's a fence.
Any ballpark I go to, if there's a screen or a fence, every time I see that foul ball hit back, there's always a part of me that jumps. The 2-1 cut on and missed, and the count runs 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out, bottom 5, 2-1 Gulls. Zach Hart has now gone at least 4 innings in all 9 of his starts this year. Hart comes set, 2-2, cut on, grounded, foul, chop foul, third base side, takes a couple of hops. Third base coach Pete Wilbur up there trying, actually no, that's the third base coach for Mystic, my bad. Al Leyva, the manager for the Newport Gulls, and the count is still even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hart coming set, 2-2 pitch, cut on, that will be grounded by Euro on the outer edge of the infield. Nice turnaround throw by Dom to get Corin out, so back-to-back 4-3 putouts for the Gulls. I thought that one was going to squirt past Dom, given his play at the second base spot as of late, but great play by Euro to glove it and throw to Sullivan. 2 up, 2 down, back to the top of the order in Cole Fabio.
Yeah, great play there by Euro. I thought Corin was going to have his second base hit of the game. Euro said,
New Jersey.
So up comes Cole Fabio. First pitch to him, called strike on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Fabio is 0 for 2 in this game. Flew out to first in the first inning. Grounded out to a 6-3 putout back in the third. And that one is popped sky high into shallow right. And Jamal Wade drifting in, and he'll make the catch. And for the second straight inning, the Newport Gulls are retired in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left aboard. After 5 innings of play here in the city by the sea, it's the Newport Gulls 2, Keene Swampbats 1 on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Due up for the Swampbats as we start the top of the 6th inning from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Tommy Rezach, Tolan Vaquero rejoining you here. It'll be Ryan Costello, Aubrey McCarty, and Patrick Sullivan. 3 productive hitters due up for Keene as Matthew McGarry reclimbs the hill for the Newport Gulls. And Tolan, the first reliever for Newport, came out pretty strong through an inning. Struck out 1, only gave up 1 hit through his first 4 batters faced.
Yeah, great first inning of work for McGarry, and no walks, which is something we like to see from him. 1 strikeout. So look to continue that here in the top of the 6th.
Costello 0 for 1. He has struck out in the first and walked in the 4th. He takes the first pitch, just missed on the outside corner. It's 1-0.
Final line on the game for Paul Campbell. 4 innings of work, 1 run, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts.
That pitch ripped into shallow right field. That's going to be a base hit for Ryan Costello. Now make it 3 straight games with a hit. That's now 11 of his last 13 starts with a base hit. The Swampbats, that is their 3rd hit of the evening, and the first time since the 4th inning they've gotten their leadoff man aboard. So leadoff single for Costello. Runner at first. Up comes Aubrey McCarty. So Costello walked and scored in the 4th, so he's gotten on base in now 2 of his 3 at-bats. Here comes McCarty. He's 1 for 2 in this game, singled back in the 4th. McGarry comes set. The first pitch to Aubrey, cut on and missed, and the count runs 0-1. Swampbats have stranded 4 base runners so far in this game. 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 4th, and 1 more in the 5th.
McGarry got away with the pitch there. Had McCarty gotten a hold of that one, it would have been well out of here.
The 0-1. That'll miss low at below the knees, and the count runs 1-1. McCarty so far this year against right-handed pitchers, as I mentioned it earlier, .333. Did come through with that base hit back in the 4th to load the bases. Costello taking about a 2-step lead off first, and now McGarry will step off the plate for just a second. Off the mound, I should say. Now Aubrey McCarty will stand back in, and McGarry looks for the sign, eyeing Costello at first. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Cut on and lifted, foul out of play on the third base side. 1-2 the count.
Well, McGarry out there on the mound would love a double play here, but McCarty up there at the plate doesn't really seem like the guy who grounds out very much, just based on the last couple of swings.
The Swampbats as a team, I mentioned it, they've struggled with runners on this year, only .220 as a team. But that has not really been an issue this week. Swampbats winners in 3 of their last 4. That 2-2 is just fouled. I think that'll foul off the right leg of catcher Troy Dixon as he's hobbling around for just a bit. Seems to be all right. I think he'll just kind of walk things off. He's really kind of favoring that right foot, however. There's a quick pause in the action.
Yeah, Dixon, a catcher behind the plate for the Gulls, who's just taken a beating all year long. Yet he continues to push through it, and of course that average hasn't really taken much of a hit.
No, sir, it's done anything but go up. So Dixon still kind of stretching his legs out there as the plate umpire, Stephen Durrance, will put the mask back on. Dixon will go back behind the dish, and we're ready to resume action. Count 1-2, nobody out, runner at first, top of the 6th. Newport 2, Keene 1 in the regular season finale for both teams. And now calling time is the pitcher, Matthew McGarry, and Troy Dixon out there to have a quick word. And it's just a really pretty brief exchange, as now they will take their positions again. Dixon still hobbling just a touch as he runs back towards home plate. All the Newport infielders playing back, with Corin holding Costello at first. The 1-2 pitch is cut on, lifted into shallow center. That will be caught by the shortstop, Connor Kaiser. I thought maybe that was going to be a blooper, but that hung up just long enough for Kaiser to drift over, moving left to right on the outer edge of the dirt to make the grab, hold the runner at first, and record the first out of the inning.
Yeah, pretty routine play there for Kaiser. I also thought that ball had a little more oomph on it, but still nonetheless a good jump and a nice play made there.
So up comes Patrick Sullivan, the first baseman out of Georgia. Going to be a sophomore this fall. Sullivan 0 for 2, struck out looking in the second, reached on a fielder's choice in the fourth. And the first pitch to him is grounded right towards McGarry at the pitcher's mound. He throws to second for 1, throws to first for 2, a 1-6-3 double play, and the side is retired. So in that inning, the Swamp Bats do get their leadoff man aboard, Costello, on their only hit. No runs across and nobody left on base. Through 5.5 innings at Cardines Field, the Newport Gulls continue to lead the Swamp Bats 2-1 on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Two up for the Newport Gulls as we start the bottom of the sixth from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Tommy Rezoch, Tolan Vaquero rejoining you. 2-3-4 in order to up. It'll be the NECBL lead hitter Troy Dixon, followed by Steven Scott and Trey Harris. And Tolan Vaquero, the Zach Hart showed a little bit of vulnerability on the mound for Keene after giving up 4 hits and 2 runs in the second and third innings combined. But now the Gulls have been put down in order the last 2 innings in a row in the fourth and fifth. How do the Gulls readjust here to Zach Hart?
Well, it's the middle of the order here, so look for him to take a couple pitches, or, I mean, in the case of Troy Dixon, he loves to swing first pitch, so if Hart's willing to throw one down the plate, I fully expect he'll go after him here. But Steven Scott coming up, you know, I just expect them to swing for the fences.
All right, then. In the home finale, you wouldn't expect much of anything less in front of a packed house, trying to get the 25th win of the season, enter those playoffs with a bit of momentum. Troy Dixon up 0 for 2 in this game, as the first pitch to Troy just missed upstairs, and it's 1-0. Off-speed pitch by Hart. Dixon grounded out to second in the first, reached on a fielder's choice back in the third inning, as he takes the 1-0 pitch for a called strike on the outside corner. So it's quickly 1-1. Look at Zach Hart's numbers. Up now north of 70 pitches, just through his 72nd, as that pitch is lifted into right center field. Looking up at it were Jamal Wade and Jack Marock. It drops right in front of Wade by the Ivory in right center field, and that is a leadoff stand-up double by Troy Dixon. Oh my goodness, he got a good look at that pitch. His 15th double of the year. He continues to lead the team in that category, and the Newport Gulls, just like that, have a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, I like that from Dixon. He saw back-to-back breaking balls and then sat on the off-speed again. It looked like a changeup there from Hart. I almost thought that ball had a chance to get out, but
yeah,
as we saw in BP, the ball's just dying when it's hitting the air out there to right field.
And yeah, where that fence bends in right center, it's only 320 feet. The Swamp Bats have a similar setup at Alumni Field, where it's only 312 feet out to their green and white scoreboard in right center. So a short porch with a 28-foot fence nonetheless. As showing bunt there was Steven Scott. He bunts it foul to the left, and it's 0-1. Scott having a decent night. 1 for 2, struck out in the first, had an RBI double back in the third. So that double by Dixon was only the second extra bases hit of the game for Newport, and their 81st double as a team this year. Hart takes the sign, eyeing Dixon at second. Kicks and fires. The 0-1 is cut on and missed, and it's 0-2. Kind of a late swing by Scott on the low offering, and he's quickly down, no balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Scott, his last time up, found himself down 0-2 in the count and roped a double left field.
Scott bats .299 with runners on base, bats an impressive .317 with runners in scoring position. As he quickly calls time. readjusting something. His batting glove, something on his right arm. Now will come ready. Left-handed batter. Bats .321 against right-handers. Hart eyeing Dixon at second again. The 0-2. Cut on, lifted into left field, but that will go foul just past the bullpen there on the third base side, as you see a bunch of Gulls and a few Swamp Bats looking up at that one, and the count remains 0-2.
I like that swing there from Scott. Another ball put to the opposite field and deep means he's seeing the ball well here. Those 10 home runs, but he hasn't become home run happy. He continues to have a good approach up there at the plate.
Scott, a native of Cary, North Carolina. Plays his college ball at Vanderbilt in the SEC Conference. Was an NECBL All-Star. Went 1 for 2 in that game. Scored a pair of runs and a 2-run blast right here at Cardines Field. The 0-2 pitch. Slider misses outside. 1-2. Last time that Scott homered was back on July the 27th. Had a 2-run shot against the Plymouth Pilgrims here at home. A game that Newport lost 6-5. Newport coming into tonight have dropped 4 of their last 5 home games. The 1-2 is lifted foul again down the third base side. This one not quite as deep as the last. Count still 1-2.
Trey Harris down there in the on-deck circle, speaking into the on-field mic towards up.
Yeah, I thought I heard someone talk through my headphones. I mean, it's the 44th game of the year. If I'm hearing or seeing things that aren't there, I wouldn't be totally surprised. And now Tommy Lacongo trots out from the catcher spot to have a quick word with Zach Hart. Zach has not gone more than 7 innings all year. He's now through 5 innings.
78 pitches.
Swamp Bats have only had 2 pitches go north of 100. Tommy Doyle, who started against Newport back on the 28th, and then Rob Carrillo threw 101 last Sunday up at North Adams. Usually 90 to 95 is the limit we've seen. The 1-2. Cut on, check swing, he foul tipped it. We wait for the appeal, but no, they say he went all the way around, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Durant's appealed to the bases umpire David Viveros, and Scott goes down swinging. It's his second K of the day. First out of the inning, up comes Trey Harris. I thought maybe he foul tipped it, but I think that ball instead made contact with the plate. So there's one away, and up comes Harris. Harris is 1 for 2 in this game. Singled and scored, stole a base also in that second inning, grounded out to first back in the third. Batting right-handed. It's now 1 away, bottom of the 6th. Runner at second for Newport, trying to extend the lead. They lead the Swamp Bats 2-1. Harris playing third base tonight. Hart's first pitch. Just missed outside and low. It's 1-0.
Hart's had very good of that off-speed pitch on the outside corner tonight. Very good command, although he has missed a couple times.
Score update from Holyoke, middle of the 7th. Still no score between the Blue Sox and Muskrats, each team with now 4 hits apiece. As the 1-0 pitch misses downstairs, and it's a ball. Quickly 2-0 to Harris. Harris kind of shaking his hand there.
Yeah, you'll see that when it's a ball and he felt like he almost went around, he'll kind of slap his leg a little bit.
Whatever works. Hart eyeing Dixon at second. Dixon taking a healthy 3 to 4 step lead off. The 2-0. That one lined back toward the screen, right up above the Newport dugout on the first base side, and the count is now 2 balls and 1 strike. Harris this season, newcomer on this team. He is through 5 at-bats. He is 200, batting 200 with runners on base. And with runners in scoring position, he's batting an even 300. 2-1 pitch. That'll miss upstairs. It's 3 balls and a strike. Hart has yet to walk a batter in this game. Only 7 walks on the year coming into this appearance, into this start. Down on the count, 3 balls and a strike to Harris. Harris, the junior out of Rhode Island, out of the University of Missouri, Powder Springs, Georgia native, lifts that pitch into left center field. Nobody there. That's going to get down. Bounces off the wall. It's a base hit. Coming around third to score is Troy Dixon. Relay throw will hold that'll hold Harris at second, so it's an RBI stand-up double by Trey Harris, and the Newport Gulls take a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, what a swing there by Harris, just splitting the gap. Saw the fastball all the way and roped it into left field.
Second double of this inning. There you see Tommy Lacongo out. Up comes now the pitching coach, Chris Cody. You see them there, number 32 on your screen. Warming up in the bullpen for Keene. That is Mike Pastor, a lefty out of Central Connecticut State. Pretty decent middle reliever for Keene, so we'll see how much longer Zach Hart goes here. He's through 5 1/3. Now giving up 3 earned runs in this game, as well as 6 hits. So the Newport Gulls now doubling Keene in offensive production, out hitting them 6-3. Chris Cody will trot back to the Keene dugout. Tommy Lacongo will go back to the catcher spot. 1 out, runner remains at second. It's now 3-1 Newport. Up comes Connor Kaiser, the shortstop. Walk up to the stroke by Billy Squire. Good classic rock song. Kaiser flew out to foul territory in the second, grounded out to short in the fourth. Hart eyeing that runner at second. It's now Trey Harris. Kicks and fires. First pitch. Gets past the glove of Tommy Lacongo. That will be a passed ball, and that will allow Trey Harris to advance to third. And so now with 1 out, the Newport Gulls have their 4th run 90 feet away.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the Swamp Bats play this here with Hart. If Harris is to come in and score, they have to keep it at a 3-run deficit. This is a huge game for the Swamp Bats if they hope to make the playoffs.
So Kaiser now, it's a 1-0 count to him. The 1-0 pitch in there, called strike, and it's 1-1. So Hart's kind of been up and down this inning. He has thrown a couple of strikes. He did ring up Scott on a strikeout in his second batter faced in the 6th, but has also given up 2 doubles in this inning. He's been able to throw heat here and there. As the 1-1 is grounded towards Shaw at short. Diving stop will make the throw to first and complete the out. That'll hold Trey Harris at third, so big out number 2 there for the Swamp Bats on the 6-3 putout. Good play by Joshua Shaw. There are now 2 away, and up comes Chris Chatfield.
Second time this game that bringing the infield in has paid off for the Swamp Bats.
Now bottom of the 6th, 2 away. Runner at third is Trey Harris. 3-1 Gulls with the lead. They tie their biggest lead of the game. And up comes Chris Chatfield, 0 for 2. Grounded out to second in the second inning. Flew out to right in the 4th. Gets a hold of that pitch, but lines it foul. That will land somewhere in the grandstands on the third base side. Actually, that bounced off the screen and will land just to the left of the third base side. Count 0-1 to Chatfield.
And it looks like something broke up there off the flagpole, maybe some glass.
And you see the plate umpire picking something up, as well as Chris Chatfield. And now everybody kind of converging over there. I'm not sure what could have broken up there.
Did he hit it that high?
He must have. I didn't see quite how high that went. You see a multitude of coaches, players, the umpires going over there, cleaning up something on the grass. I'm not sure what they're picking up. See the head coach for the Newport Gulls over there, Al Leyva. Chris Chatfield. Also Trey Harris coming over from third base to help clean up. I don't know what this is. So we wait for them to clean it up. Pause in the action. Whatever that foul ball hit, it broke something. It spread debris on the grass. Seemed to have most of it taken care of. I was wondering what the crowd was making such a fuss about. I thought someone was going to make a catch, and that's why they were cheering. But said they were trying to point something out, say, hey, something broke. We await confirmation as to what that may have been. So the count is now 0-1 to Chatfield with 2 outs. And it was a light bulb on the light pole, a big gray light post on the third base side. And there you see the grounds crew bringing out a shovel and broom. So indeed, a light shattered, a light bulb. So another pause in the action here. They'll sweep it up.
Well, Chatfield waits for his turn at bat, and his last time up flew out to right field. Pretty much everyone in the stands thought he had got more on it. We were hoping for a home run, but he just hit it off the end of the bat, and he'll look to get more on it this time.
Looks like all the glass is cleaned up. Big tip of the cap to the Newport Fielding crew, grounds crew for getting that taken care of. 0-1 pitch is in there for a called strike, so Chatfield down in the count, 0-2. Chris on Saturday against the Mystic Schooners went 1 for 3 with a run scored, had a 2-run homer in the game. Also was hit by a pitch. Has 5 doubles on the year, 22 runs scored off 21 hits. And that 0-2 is lined to Crispin at third, but it gets past his glove, and that'll score a run. It rolls all the way back into deep left field. Costello up with it. The relay throw will hold Chatfield at first, but it's an RBI single into left as it just grazed the glove of Garrett Crispin, and the Gulls have their biggest lead of the game. It's 4-1. So Garrett Crispin leapt. I thought maybe he was going to make a grab. Crispin had some nice plays at the third base spot. Yesterday he had 4 unassisted putouts against the Nighthawks, but on that leap he just couldn't quite get a hold of it. That ball was lined into his direction down the third base side, so trickled all the way into deep left. Costello, nice relay throw to hold Chatfield at first. It was now 4-1. Up comes Travis Young. Shows bunt, pulls back, relay throw by Lacongo, tag applied, just back in time was Chatfield, and the count 1-0.
A little Yadier Molina-esque behind the plate is Lacongo. Yadier, a player who loves that snap throw down to first.
It's been scouts talking with head coach Jim Negrich about Tommy's defensive abilities. His bat has been pretty cold, but he has been a surefire gem at the catcher spot all season long. Is now Hart with a check throw over to first to check on Chatfield, and he's back in time. Young standing in right now is 1 for 2, had an RBI single back in the second, struck out back in the fourth. He was the last strikeout victim of Zach Hart. The third and final so far. And now another snap throw over to Chatfield, and Chatfield sliding back safely in time.
Well, Chatfield, not much of a stolen base threat out there. He does have 3 on the year. Hasn't been caught yet, but not as much speed as you would expect for him out there.
The Newport Gulls as a team, 41 swipe bags on the year. That's 9th in the NECBL. Only been caught 13 times. That's 3rd fewest. The 1-0. Cut on and missed, and the count is now 1-1 strike.
And an interesting note on that, that's the second best in stolen base attempts in their history since 2007.
Mentioned it, the Swamp Bats broke a franchise record of their own. Most hit batters, 49. Broken a franchise record with most earned runs given up in a season. It's now 206 on the year as that 1-1 pitch will miss high and inside, so the count will run 2 balls and a strike to Young with 2 outs, runner at first, bottom of the 6th. Newport Gulls have added 2 more runs in this inning to extend their lead 4-1. And score update from Winnipesaukee, top of the 8th. The Blue Sox have a 1-0 lead. So if Winnipesaukee loses and Keene falls, then the season is still alive. For that pitch, runner goes, swing and a miss. Here comes the throw down to second, and that time Lacongo got him. It was a 2-6 put out that time as Chatfield is caught stealing for the second time today, and that will retire the side. But the Gulls get some damage done in that inning. They get 2 runs off of 3 hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. After 6 innings of play in Rhode Island, the score is now Newport 4, Keene 1 on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Due up for the Swamp Bats as we start the top of the 7th inning here at Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Tommy Rezatri joining you. The Swamp Bats have dug themselves now in a 4-1 hole, and to try and dig them out of it, it'll be Jack Marock, Garrett Crispin, Jamal Wade, 6, 7, and 8, and they will face a new pitcher. And here to tell you about the new goal on the mound and to take you through the final 3 innings, the voice of the Newport Gulls, Tolan Vaquero.
Thank you, Tommy. And now on the mound for the Gulls is going to be Garrett Barker, the junior out of UCLA. Garrett coming into today with a 5.12 earned run average. He's appeared in 10 games this year with 1 game started, 19 innings of work, 11 runs, 15 walks, 21 strikeouts for him. So decent numbers as the official attendance coming in for tonight's ball game, 2,809 here at Cardines Field. So one of the highest numbers that we've seen so far this season. As the first pitch from Barker is right down the plate to Maroc. 0-1 the count. The Gulls pitching staff so far today has looked good out there, only 1 run allowed. As the 0-1 again catches the knees. Quickly 0-2, and for the Gulls, they lead the league in attendance on the year and are now over the 45,000 fan mark as 3 straight fastballs taken by Maroc here to start off the top half of the 7th. First strikeout of the game for Barker.
Yeah, not a great at bat there by Maroc. He barely brought the bat off the shoulder and quickly down on 3 strikes. That's definitely the start that the reliever Garrett Barker wanted to have, and Jack Maroc now in danger of snapping that 8-game hit streak.
So here's Garrett Chrisman at the plate. Flew out to left field his first time up, then grounded out to first, and he hits that pitch to left. Chatfield takes a couple steps to his right and makes the catch. 2 gone. So 2 quick outs here for Barker to start off the top half. And for McGarry, his final line out there on the mound, 2 innings of work, 2 hits, 1 strikeout, no runs allowed. So the Gulls pitching staff will be happy to see that, as they're going to need everyone to be in top form heading into the playoffs. They fully expect to make a run for the Fay Vincent Cup. They want to win their 7th championship in franchise history, and they feel like they have the arms and players to do so. As that pitch fouled back out of play by Jamal Wade.
Yeah, a lot of combined championships here tonight. The Swamp Bats second most titles in the NECBL. They had 4, last winning it in 2013. Like I said, they were trying to avoid the 2nd consecutive year and only the 3rd year overall missing playoffs.
Really?
Yes, sir. 98 the first year, in 2015 last season. They did not make the playoffs every single year they've been, as Wade fouls off that pitch. So it'll only be the 3rd year, but if they lose tonight, so far so good in Holyoke for them. Top of the 8th, Blue Sox still a 1-0 lead.
As Wade takes low there on the fastball by Barker, 1-2 the count. Barker's looked good. That's just the first ball that he's thrown here in 3 batters faced. Struck out Maroc to start off the inning, got Chrisman to fly out. The 1-2 swing and a foul back out of play towards the firehouse and parking lot. So we're in the top of the 7th here. The Gulls lead the Swamp Bats 4-1, 8:34 the local time here in Newport. And it looks like Wade may have got something in his eye there as he takes a little extra time before stepping in. And we'll do it again with the 1-2 pitch here. Change up left up. 2-2 the count.
So for you Swamp Bat fans listening, should Winnipesaukee lose in Valley tonight, then it becomes a waiting game. Winnipesaukee will host Mystic tomorrow at 6:05. If Winnipesaukee wins, season over. If they lose, we might have a tiebreaker depending on what happens at Upper Valley in Vermont tomorrow.
So the best scenario situation here would be for the Swamp Bats just to win this ball game here, but if not, then they just have to scoreboard watch. And
yeah, right. If they win and Winnipesaukee loses, then there might be a 3-way tie.
As a 3-2 pitch fouled out of play, that would be a fun situation to watch.
I believe if Winnipesaukee would lose their last 2, that would drop them to 19-25. If Keene wins, they'd be 20-24. Vermont or Upper Valley would have to sweep. If Winnipesaukee loses out, Keene wins, and Vermont and Upper Valley split, then Keene is in.
That pitch lined into right, but right at Steven Scott, who makes the catch. A 1-2-3 inning for Garrett Barker. As he sets the side down in order, we head to the bottom half of the 7th here at Cardines Field. It is the Gulls leading the Swamp Bats 4-1 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Sorry, folks. Welcome back here. I just want to pick up the 7th inning stretch for you here live.
Well, this crowd's qualified for the Music Festival. How about that?
It's always nice to listen to the 7th inning stretch here at Cardines Field. A lot of these fans are very faithful to the Gulls as we have a new pitcher on the mound for the Swamp Bats. Tommy?
Yeah, that is Mike Crimmy, a senior right-handed pitcher out of Keene State College, comes out of Bethel, Connecticut. Numbers on Crimmy, he has a start on the year, and for appearances, this will be his 7th. He has an 0-2 record and a team-worst 16.78 ERA. Through 12 1/3 innings of work, Crimmy has surrendered 25 hits, 28 runs, 23 of those are earned, 13 Ks to 6 walks, with a team with the second highest opponent batting average on the team at .410. So it's been rough sailing for Crimmy. He started against Sanford last week, gave up quite a few runs, I believe 7 runs total in what was a 10-3 loss for the Swamp Bats. So Crimmy is definitely a better middle reliever than he is starter. So they will rely on him to get out of the mess. Final line on Zach Hart. He finished with 6 innings pitched. And he gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, all of those earned, 4 Ks, no walks through 24 batters faced.
Well, for Crimmy out there, he'll look to try to lower that ERA a little bit, but that 16.78 ERA, not a number that's he's going to be too happy about this season in the NECBL. As Travis Young makes his walk up to the plate as he'll lead off the bottom of the 7th. The Gulls looking for a few more insurance runs here. They already lead the Swamp Bats 4-1 here. And if they want to add a couple, it looks like Crimmy will be the guy to do it against. It'll be Travis Young and then Jake Brote waiting on deck. He'll pinch hit for Mark Powell, who's in that DH spot, but's 0 for 2 tonight and has really been struggling of late. Brote was getting the night off due to a sore right shoulder. First pitch to Young, taken low.
So I misspoke a little bit. Crimmy, he did toss two-thirds of an inning against Sanford on Saturday, gave up 4 runs. 1 of those earned off 2 hits and a walk. It was a start on July 26th where he gave up 10 runs off 8 hits in a start, and he took the loss.
As he falls behind Young here, 2-0, starting off the bottom half of the 7th inning. Swamp Bats will have 2 more turns at bat. Try to even this game up. Young takes on the inside corner. Jake Brote out there who waits on deck, hitting .282 on the year, 15 RBIs, 6 home runs, and 13 doubles. Swing and a miss there by Young. He fished that one way out of the zone. Those 13 doubles by Brote, only second behind Troy Dixon, who hit his 15th of the season today. Chopped foul by Young. It'll be interesting to see in this game if it remains 4-1 or goes to 4-2, 4-3, if the Gulls are willing to bring in closer Blake Cairns at the end of the game, or if they'll just rest him heading into the playoffs. Depends on how much they really want this 25th win, I guess. As Young waves at the slider outside. Strikes out for the 2nd time today. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Good start by Crimmy. Got down in that count quickly. 2 balls and no strikes. And then did get Young to chop foul a couple of times and then got him to swing on there was that one outside offering you said that he went fishing for and now gets the strikeout. So for Crimmy, nice start. That is the 5th strikeout of the day for Keene as a pitching staff, and as you mentioned, the 2nd time Young has done so today.
So here's Jake Brote now, who steps to the plate, pinch hitting for Mark Powell. Powell went 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a ground out to second. Brote stands in the first pitch, taken on the inside corner for a called strike. Brote doesn't really like the call, thought it was a bit in. Home plate umpire Steve Durant has been calling things on the corners, but not so much up or down. Slider missing away. Just saw you pump your fist over there.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on that Valley Winnipesaukee game. Still 1-0, bottom of the 8th, so the Muskrats will have their last chance coming up top of the 9th. Valley did have an insurance run at second, but Winnipesaukee able to retire the side.
Brote fouls that pitch back out of play quickly, 1-2.
If that game does go foul, Mike Gentili will have pitched goes final. Mike Gentili will have pitched a complete game through 8 innings, giving up 6 hits, only 1 unearned run and 3 Ks. So really a gem of a game by the Muskrat there. Offense has produced 5 hits, but no runs across.
A 1-2 hit on the ground, left side, fielded in the hole by Shaw. A jump throw over to first is going to be not in time, as he just didn't have the arm strength on the slow dribbler. It'll be a single for Brote in his pinch hit appearance. A 1-out base runner for the Gulls, and Mike Korn coming to plate. What's impressive about that start there for Gentile is only the 3 strikeouts. That's a lot of the time when you see these guys go complete games, it's the pitch count that will knock them out of the game. Only 3 strikeouts means he's been very efficient.
He's up to 108 pitches, 69 strikes, 39 balls. So, yeah, he's had a very efficient game, and it's a shame for him because the only Valley run that scored was off a fielding error. So, other than that, he'd have a pretty sharp game.
Now that pitch gets away from the catcher, Lacongo, and Brote heads down to second. It's going to be a wild pitch on Crimmy. So a runner in scoring position now, 1 out for Mike Corrin. Corrin singled back in the third and then hit a hot shot back up the middle, and a nice play was made out there by Hierro to retire him. So he almost had 2 singles after coming into today without a base hit. He has an RBI opportunity here. A pitch, swing and a foul back out of play, 1-1. So pretty much now what we would expect from this Gulls lineup heading into the playoffs, now that Brote's in there. And then, of course, Charlie Carpenter, who's also nursing a little bit of an injury, would probably be in there instead of Mike Corrin, and then that would be the playoff lineup. A 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Crimmy blew it by him there. 1-2 the count.
Crimmy's done a nice job of bringing a good fastball after kind of getting down in a count. He has a wild pitch there in this at-bat, but now quickly ahead of the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Out number 2, his second K of the day would be very helpful here for the Swamp Bats. Don't want to give up any more insurance here, already down 3 runs.
He comes set, checks on Brote at second, the 1-2 pitch. Swinging a ground ball, right side. A throw goes to Crimmy, who's covering as Sullivan bobbled it a little, but they still make the play. 2 gone here in the bottom of the 7th, with Brote advancing to third, and top of the order, Cole Fabio coming to the plate.
A tough play there by Sullivan. He kind of bobbled that play as it was grounded right to him. He was able to regather it, and Crimmy did a good job hustling off the mound to complete the putout, but there are 2 away, but now Newport has the run 90 feet away, so instead of getting that strikeout, it was weak contact, but Newport puts a run 90 feet away.
Cole Fabio today is 0 for 3, flew out to right his last time up, grounded out to short in the third, and then flew out to first, back in the first. He takes outside with the slider, 1-0 the count. Fabio would love to get on base here in front of Troy Dixon, who's only 1 for 3 today. We say only 1 because we're used to Dixon getting at least 2 hits a game, but he'll have a couple more cracks here. The pitch to Fabio, taken outside, off the glove of Lacongo, 2-0. Dixon, his last time up, roped a double to right field, and then proceeded to score on the double by Trey Harris back in the 6th. So 2-0 the count here on Fabio. We'll see if he's taking. The pitch, just low below the knees, 3-0. You'd expect him to have the take sign here.
Yeah, Fabio, one of only 2 goals not to reach base so far. The other would be Connor Kaiser, who's 0 for 3. Everybody else has gotten a base hit in the lineup.
A 3-0 pitch on the way. Swinging a ground ball right side towards Hierro, who throws on to first in time to retire the side. Fabio swinging 3-0 there. Questionable move as he grounds out to end the inning, and we head to the top half of the 8th here at Cardines Field. It is the Gulls 4 and the Swamp Bats 1 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Bronson.
Welcome back, folks, as we get set for the top half of the 8th inning here at Cardines Field. It's a new pitcher on the mound for the Gulls. Right-handed pitcher Matthew Murphy takes over out there, the junior out of the University of Rhode Island. Stands at 5'11". Murphy on the year with a 9 ERA in 5 games, 11 innings of work, 11 runs allowed, but 14 strikeouts, only 2 walks. So he's pounds the strike zone, strikes out a lot of guys, but also gives up a lot of runs as he'll look to cut that down here facing Lukongo. First pitch. Hit foul down the third base line.
Lukongo came through with a nice one-out single in his last at-bat back in the 5th, but a fly out by Euro and then by Shaw for the next 2 outs of the inning left him stranded. Now, big news out of Holyoke. The Blue Sox won, so with that Winnipesaukee loss, Keene is still technically alive.
Good news for them as Lukongo takes outside, 2-2 the count.
So I misspoke earlier. If Winnipesaukee loses to Mystic tomorrow, then that would be a tiebreaker game between Winnipesaukee and Keene at a site to be determined. It actually be in Laconia since the Muskrats do have the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Swamp Bats. So if Mystic wins in Laconia tomorrow, Keene and Winnipesaukee would play in Laconia for a winner-take-all on Wednesday. But if Vermont sweeps or Upper Valley sweeps, then we're looking at maybe a three-team playoff. Still, nothing is settled in the Northern Division.
So no clear path there in the Northern Division as Lukongo has put a couple good swings on McGarry here. Again, the 0-2 taken outside. Or sorry, 1-2, now 2-2 on Lukongo. In just a moment, we'll get other updates of scores around the league from Shannon O'Connell following this at-bat by Tommy Lukongo. As Dixon took another one there off on the ball in the dirt, and home plate umpire Steve Durrance personally hand delivers the new baseball to Murphy out there on the mound, giving Dixon a little extra time. The count 2-2 here on the Congo. A pitch on the way from Murphy. Just misses somewhere. Must have been low.
Yeah, dangerous no swing by Lukongo there. You're now in the top of the 8th. You're down to your last 6 outs. You got to take the bat off the shoulder if you're Tommy Lukongo.
And the 3-2 misses outside there, and Dixon very upset, and I can see why.
Well, that time that was a good take. I thought that pitch just missed upstairs. But, yeah, the pitch before is definitely worth being upset about from a player's standpoint. But Lukongo obviously saw something, or Steve Durrance saw something we didn't, and Lukongo gets on with a full pitch walk. That's the first time since the 6th that the Swamp Bats have gotten their leadoff man aboard.
And here comes Damiero now.
And that's the 4th free pass that they've notched on the evening.
Ropes the first pitch on the ground towards Fabio. Backhanded flip to Kaiser, onto first in time, double play. What a play there made by Cole Fabio on the hot shot liner. As you'll see the replay here in just a moment, that ball was scorched. And look at this backhand, folks. A quick flip, and the arrow has speed.
Yes, he does. Great job all around by Fabio, Kaiser, and then Mike Corrin just keeping his foot on the bag to complete the putout. So if you're Troy Dixon, you're probably thinking justice.
Yeah, you're thinking justice, and that's nice for Murphy out there on the mound after leadoff walk. Now can just focus on Shaw, no runners on. First pitch taken outside. That was probably one of the better double plays, or quickest, that I've seen turned here by the Gulls this season. The 1-0 pitch missing outside. For the Gulls on the year, that is their 29th double play turned. A 2-0 pitch swung on and fouled back onto the porch of the house over there in right field. It looks like it sat up there, so they'll have a souvenir when they wake up in the morning.
Be nice if they have kids. Play a little catch.
A 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss 2-2 the count.
Shaw did reach on a walk back in the fourth. Tried to get around third, but was thrown out on a 4-2 put out. Shaw's been thrown out at home 3 times this year.
A 2-2, in on the hands, dribbled towards first. That's a fair ball. Shaw didn't even run as it is Corin over there who takes it himself, and the side is retired. So after a leadoff walk, Murphy's able to get himself out of a little bit of jam with the double play and the ground ball. We head to the bottom half of the 8th at Cardines Field. It's the Gulls 4, the Swampbats 1 on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back, folks. Bottom half of the 8th. It's going to be a heart of the order 2 up for the Gulls as they lead here 4-1, and there's going to be a new pitcher on the mound for the Keene Swampbats.
Yeah, out there now. We saw him warming earlier. It's Mike Pastor, a senior left-hander out of Wynantskill, New York, and out of Central Connecticut State University, teammates with Keene left fielder Ryan Costello. For Pastor, this will be his 9th appearance on the year. He does also have a pair of starts, has an 0-2 record and a 4.32 ERA. Through 25 innings of work, Pastore has surrendered 24 hits, 13 runs, 12 of those earned, 19 Ks to 21 walks. Those 21 walks are tied for third most given up in the NECBL. His last appearance came 6 days ago on Tuesday, a home game against Sanford. Had 3 1/3 innings of relief. It wasn't bad overall. Gave up only a hit, but he walked 5 and struck out 3 through 15 batters faced. So kind of up and down. Has not faced Newport yet this year, so he's had 6 days to rest. So Mike Pastor, I'd say that's a pretty good choice by the pitching coach Chris Cody. If you want to give up limited damage, if you're the Swampbats, you do not want to give up any kind of insurance run. So I'd say Pastor gives Keene a good chance of not making this deficit any bigger.
The numbers that stand out to me for Pastor are those 21 walks you mentioned, only the 19 strikeouts. So a little wild, but still effective with the only 12 earned runs in 25 innings.
Took a loss against Mystic back on the 21st at home. That was the biggest loss of the year for Keene by the numbers, 18-4, and he made a start through 4 innings, gave up 6 earned runs off 8 hits, struck out 3, walked 3.
So he faces Dixon here, lefty-lefty matchup. 1-0 pitch taken inside, looked well inside and low. 1-1 the count to Dixon.
Dixon struggles just a bit against lefties, batting .226 against them this year.
A pitch swinging a ground ball right side towards the arrow. Fields it on a hop, throws over to first. In time, 1 gone.
A pretty clean start there by Pastor. Just retired the best hitter in the NECBL, best hitter in the Newport lineup. So that's what you want to do, get 1 up, 1 down. That's now 3 goals in a row retired. So Keene defensively, really, they've made some nice plays in this game, but as we've seen in a lot of losses for Keene, not much bat support.
So here's Steven Scott. First pitch taken outside.
So that can be a little bit deceiving. You know, I've mentioned the struggles that the Keene bullpen has had, but when their offense gives them no support, that just kind of makes their lives a lot more difficult.
It's a 4-1 goals lead here in the bottom of the 8th. 8:58 now. A 2-0 pitch to Scott. Fastball left up 3-0.
Pastor, a lot of heat on these pitches, but just kind of wild control. He's getting them over the plate, but they're missing way upstairs.
Trey Harris waits on deck, who's had a day so far, and a 4-pitch walk drawn there by Steven Scott, a 1-out base runner for the Gulls, and now Harris steps up to the plate. Harris is 2 for 3 on the day, singled back in the second, stole a base, scored a run, then grounded out to first and proceeded to rope an RBI double back in the 6th and score another run. So
first free pass issued of the day by the Swampat pitching. So yeah, if you're going to point to things that Keene did wrong in this game, you can't really point to pitching. 3 different pitchers now have a combined 5 Ks and only 1 walk. So really a clean night as far as control goes for the Swamp Bats, but with 1 out after getting a clean 4-3 putout, you give up a 4-pitch walk. So you see there, Tommy Lacongo is out to talk, and now here comes the manager of the Swamp Bats, Jim Negrich. I think they're going to make a call to the bullpen. Not sure who's going to come out yet. No official call has been made.
See if there is even anyone warming out there. even the players out there on the mound taking a quick look.
Yeah, Negrich has not signaled as you look over there. That is Ivan Clow, the Southern New Hampshire University product, warming. And Negrich will trot back to the dugout. Actually, oh, that's Pastor, so he is done. So there you see on your screen, Ivan Clow will come up, and he'll warm up, the fourth different pitcher for the Swamp Bats.
We'll get to Ivan Clow's stats in just a moment, but while we have a second, let's take a quick break. You're listening to the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back, folks. Ivan Clow takes over on the mound for the Swamp Bats. And here to tell you about his stats, Tommy Rezoch.
All right, thank you very much, Tolan. And Ivan Clow is a junior right-handed pitcher out of Dublin, New Hampshire. I mentioned it earlier. Comes out of Southern New Hampshire University. Going to be a junior there this fall. Numbers on Clow on the year. This will be his 16th appearance out of the pen. Has a 4.02 ERA, a 1-0 record to his credit. Through 15 2/3 innings of work, Clow has surrendered 16 hits, 9 runs, 7 of those earned, 13 Ks to 7 walks, has an opponent batting average of .271.
Thanks, Tommy. And before we get Harris up at the plate, let's send it over to Shannon for a quick update of other games around the league.
So the doubleheader that was supposed to be at Maxfield Sports Complex, Vermont versus Upper Valley, was actually rained out. So it's postponed until tomorrow starting at 4:30. And then another game that was actually rained out was North Adams versus Sanford. They're actually not playing that game today. They're going to play at some point tomorrow. It's tied at 2, Ocean State versus New Bedford at top of the 8th at Paul Walsh Field. 7-1 Mystic up against Danbury at the bottom of the 9th at Rogers Park. And then, like you mentioned, Valley beat Winnipesaukee 1-0 at Mackenzie Stadium. And then it's 4-1 here, bottom of the 8th at Cardines Field. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Shannon. Well, that 2-2 tie between Ocean State and New Bedford, a huge game to watch. Ocean State has been reeling of late. They've fallen from first in the Southern Division all the way down to 5th right now, but they're only a game back of New Bedford, so a win here tonight would put them in a tie for 4th. As Trey Harris now steps to the plate, he'll face Ivan Clow out there with a runner at first and nobody out. Harris has had a good day so far at the plate. The first pitch, taken low, 1-0.
Clow's last appearance came against Mystic this past Thursday. Tossed an inning, it was the 8th inning, and put the Schooners down in order 1-2-3 just to kind of try to heal the Swamp Bats in what was an 8-1 loss. So just did a good job of getting the hard-hitting Schooners down in order, not make the loss any more painful.
The 1-0 pitch dribbled foul there by Harris. He missed one as he just nubbed it off the end of the bat, and he was upset with himself.
Overall, Clow's a good late innings guy. He got the win against Newport back on the 28th. Tossed an inning, struck out 2 goals in the top of the 11th. That set the table for Keene to walk off in the bottom of the 11th. So Clow is pretty good in late innings for Keene. Has 4 saves on the year as well.
The 1-1 pitch. There goes the runner, and it's hit high in the air to center. Steven Scott starts towards second, now has to hustle back to first. Didn't really read that originally off the bat. So 2 gone here in the bottom of the 8th, and now that brings up Connor Kaiser, who's 0 for 3 today.
Heck of a relay throw by Jack Maroc out there in center. His usual position all season has been right, but with Lucas Lupa, the Keene native, being out of the lineup the last couple of days, Maroc's kind of had to pull his own weight, so to speak, and play a position that he's not super familiar with. But the last few games, I think it's his 3rd straight game starting that position. He's made great throws like that.
So here's Kaiser. Swings at the first pitch off speed. 0-1 the count. And you talk about Lucas Lupa being out of the lineup the last 2 nights. Lupa, one of my good friends from Eckerd, saw him play a lot down there. And the only 2 games I've seen the Swamp Bats this year, Lupa's been out of the lineup. So a little unfortunate I don't get to see him play. He'll be transferring from Eckerd to Franklin Pierce this year.
Joining the Keene starting pitcher, Zach Hart there.
So 0-2 the count here now on Connor Kaiser. Clow looking to shut this inning down, get the Swamp Bats back up there one last time. It will be Blake Cairns, the closer for the Gulls, who will come in and try to close out this game and get the Gulls their 25th win of the season. The 0-2 outside, good block by Lacongo. Keeps Scott at first. 1-2 the count. It appears as if I missed one of Karen's appearances on the year over the weekend, in which he gave up only his second run of the season. His ERA now at 1.02 coming into this game. It's like a week ago, it was at 0.00 after the All-Star game. A 1-2 pitch outside with the breaking ball. 2-2 the count.
Overall good velocity on that pitch. Cloud just left it a little bit downstairs. And Kaiser, he has struggled a little bit tonight, 0 for 3, but coming into tonight, he has gotten a hit in 4 of his last 5 starts, scored a run against Mystic 2 days ago, also had the RBI and a walk in that game. So his bat has come on as of late within the past week for these Newport Gulls. There's no doubt about it.
A 2-2 pitch on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Kaiser doesn't like the call. Nonetheless, it's a strikeout there for Clow. As we head to the top of the 9th inning here at Cardines Field, Blake Cairns jogs in trying to maintain this 3-run lead for the Gulls here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Top of the 9th inning here at Cardines Field. Blake Cairns takes over on the mound as he'll look to close this game out. It's the Gulls who have a 3-run lead over the Swamp Bats. They lead 4-1 here. Blake Cairns coming into today with a 1.02 earned run average, 1-1 on the year, 5 saves, 17 innings of work, 22 strikeouts, 8 walks. So he's been terrific for him. He's out of the University of Georgia.
Saw him and Pat Sullivan and Ryan Avadano, one of Keene's starting pitchers from Georgia, all chatting before the game, all fellow Bulldogs. Yeah, Cairns' last appearance came against Plymouth back on July 27th, took a loss in an inning and a third, gave up a hit, an earned run, walked 1, struck out 1 through 6 batters faced.
Well, if you look over the last couple starts, they've been making him go more than 1 inning of work, which has seemed to affect him a little bit. And that can be the case for closers who are used to just going on focusing on that 1 inning of work. As the first pitch misses inside here to Costello, 1-0. Cairns will face 3-4-5 in the Swamp Bats lineup.
His last save came at Danbury back on July 19th. Tossed an inning, walked 1, struck out 1 through 4 batters faced.
Paints the outside corner there, 1-1 with the fastball. Cairns is able to dial it up to about 94. Sits usually around 91.
Nice. Yeah, Costello was the last Swamp Bat to notch a hit for the Swamp Bats back in the 6th inning.
And he hits that one to deep right field. Ranging back on it is Scott. He's at the fence, and he makes the catch, folks. Again, the wind isn't really blowing, but usually that's a ball that'll get out here to right field, and it just was kept in.
Yeah, I thought that one had a real chance. Everybody here was kind of just waiting for it to get down from the air. Costello popped that thing sky high, but credit Steven Scott for holding his ground, keeping his eye on the ball, and as you said, making a catch not 10 feet in front of the fence. Yeah, I thought we haven't seen a ball hit that high, that deep. I thought surely maybe that's the one that'll clear that 28-foot fence. Nope.
So 1 out here. And Aubrey McCarty at the plate, 1 for 3 today. Took the first fastball up and away. A pitch from Cairns. In at the knees, 1-1. Good spot with the fastball.
McCarty singled back in the 4th inning. 1 for 3 on this game. Grounded out in the 2nd, flew out in the 6th.
And the pitch in on the hands, fouled back out of play. Big cut by McCarty. He almost lost his footing. Took such a big swing at it.
6 different Swamp Bats have gotten on base, but only 3 different Swamp Bats have notched a hit. Not quite the productive night that they've been used to this past week, having won 3 of their last 4.
And swung on and missed. He struck him out. 4 out, number 2 did Cairns. A low fastball to McCarty, and 2 gone here in the top of the 9th.
Yeah, Swamp Bats down to their final out. I don't believe the Swamp Bats have ever come from behind in a road game this year. They walked off 5 times at home at Alumni Field, and they've gotten out of some close games. They've gotten some saves on the road, but never do I believe Keene ever overcame a deficit away from home.
Well, they'll have to overcome that 3-run deficit here as they're down to their last out. That would be a historic comeback for them, to say the least, if they were able to do so against Cairns.
Good news for the Swamp Bats, though. With the Winnipesaukee loss, they're not dead yet.
As the 0-1 misses inside. They still got life here. You just got to have faith. Rally caps are coming on for all the Swamp Bats fans. 1-1 the count here. As every pitch, the Newport faithful doing the slow clap. The pitch, swing and a foul back, 1-2. Swamp Bats down to their final strike of the regular season here.
Again, the Swamp Bats will do the waiting game. It's a 6:05 first pitch from Laconia. The Muskrats win, season over. If they lose, just kind of to wait and see what happens with the Muskrats and the Nighthawks and Mountaineers. More on that later.
So Cairns gets his sign and comes set. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on a miss. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Blake Cairns comes in and retires the side in order. 2 strikeouts, and the Gulls get that coveted 25th win of the year here. And they celebrate on the diamond. They win heading into the playoffs by a score of 4-1 over the Swamp Bats.
Yeah, that's a feel-good win for Newport. Finished 25-19. That's a stellar record. They had that second-place spot locked up, and as you mentioned, they got a lot to look forward to as they head to the postseason. Keene will finish 19-25 on the regular season. So as I mentioned, now you look at the NECBL Northern Division standings for the Swamp Bats. They dropped to 19-25. That'll put them in last for now. So Vermont and Upper Valley will play 2 games starting at 4:30 at the Maxfield Sports Complex, home of the Nighthawks. So if Winnipesaukee wins, Keene is eliminated. So if Winnipesaukee gets the win, they're now 19-24. Winnipesaukee wins tomorrow, that'd put them at 20-24. Vermont and Upper Valley would then have to sweep if the Muskrats beat the Schooners. If the Muskrats lose and Upper Valley and Vermont split, then it comes down to the Muskrats and the Swamp Bats. They would play a 1-game, a winner-take-all in Laconia on Wednesday. So Vermont and Upper Valley, if one of those teams that wants to make it out, they're going to have to sweep to matter in this scenario. If Winnipesaukee wins and Vermont and Upper Valley split, then it's over. And if Winnipesaukee loses and somebody sweeps, then we could be looking at utter melee still in that Northern Division. So Swamp Bat fans, don't hang up the cleats just yet.
Well, we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll have the full post-game report for you here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Well, welcome back, folks. It was a good ball game here at Cardines Field, a quick one, as the Gulls take this one by a final score of 4-1 over the Swamp Bats and improve to 25-19 on the year heading into the playoffs. The Gulls with 4 runs on 8 hits, Swamp Bats with 1 run on 3 hits. Paul Campbell, the starter, goes 4 innings of work, allowing 1 run, 3 walks, and struck out 5. Zach Hart on the day. 6 innings of work, 4 runs, 7 hits, 4 strikeouts, and it's Matthew McGarry getting the win. He's 2-3 on the year. Zach Hurt with the loss. Save goes to Blake Cairns, his 6th of the year. Official game time, a quick one, 2 hours and 30 minutes. 2,809 on hand here at Cardines Field. And the next game for the Gulls, of course, will be here on Wednesday night as they get set to begin the playoffs. Not quite sure who against yet, and for the Swamp Bats, this could be it or it could not be, but if it is, what are your plans following the season?
Well, actually, I announced with a heavy heart that I'm actually flying out of Boston tomorrow. I didn't know when if I would even say this at all, but due to scheduling difficulties and flat-out bad play in the 3rd week of July, the Swamp Bats, when they were in last, I originally had a flight booked back to Nebraska in the second week of August, but it didn't really seem to be the case. So Matt Skull, the co-voice of the Swamp Bats, who was over on our radio station tonight, he will carry the Swamp Bats if they go anywhere. So yeah, if this is, the last game that I'm calling, but overall, like I said, it's a tough season. It was up and down. It was a roller coaster ride. You start off 7-1 and you finish, you go 7-18 in July, and then you come here on your regular season finale, you take it on the chin in a tough loss. 3 hits, that is the second fewest in any game this year for the Swamp Bats. So Zach Hart, give him credit for fighting in the start. 6 innings. He did give up 7 hits and 4 runs, but he also struck out 4. Really, the Keene bullpen did a solid job all night. 6 strikeouts to only 1 walk. So for once, the bullpen didn't cost the Swamp Bats a game. I thought they did a pretty solid job, but offensively, only 3 different Swamp Bats were able to notch a hit after they got 11 hits on the road at Upper Valley last night. So Keene's done all they can. All they can do is now wait. As I said, it's Mystic at Winnipesaukee that the Muskrats kind of hold Keene's fate. If not, we'll be looking at tiebreaker games, sudden death games. So It's just a matter of watching and waiting for the Swamp Bats. But like I said, it's a losing record, and you might not make the playoffs, but like I said, it's 6 more wins than you had a year ago. You did some good things here at the end of the season, and I'm sure we saw 5 Swamp Bats return from last year at the beginning of the year. Lucas Lupa, Garrett Crispin, Carmen Gianpatruzzi, a few of them to name. So with the good things they've done this year, I think you'll see a couple of Swamp Bats come back, and this is still a really good program, and it was a fun 44 seasons calling games both on the radio and on the NECBL Broadcast Network, and so glad I could end the regular season at a beautiful stadium like Cardines in a nice town like Newport. And it was a pretty entertaining game for the most part, pretty close down the stretch, but tough loss for Keene, and now they just kind of have to hope and pray for the best.
Well, thanks, Tommy. That'll do it for us up here. We'll pass things over to Jared Krajewski and Shannon O'Connell. Tommy, it's been a pleasure, and all the best.
Thank you very much, Tolan.
Just a final look about what's going on around the league. Like I mentioned before, the doubleheader Vermont versus Upper Valley has been rained out. So tomorrow they'll be playing their doubleheader at 4:30 up at Maxfield Sports Complex. It's the top of the 8th. Ocean State 5, New Bedford 2 at Paul Walsh Field. Mystic is still up 7-1 against Danbury in the bottom of the 9th at Rogers Park. Vermont versus Upper Valley, like I mentioned, that was rained out. Valley beat Winnipesaukee 1-0 at Mackenzie Stadium. And then North Adams versus Sanford was also rained out tonight. And then they'll be playing tomorrow. And then right here at Cardines Field, Newport beat Keene 4-1. Jarek, anything you want to say about tonight's game?
Just a great game overall. Great pitching by both teams. Newport just came up with a timely hit. Trey Harris, Troy Dixon led the charge like they usually do. So just a great team win. Carry some momentum going into the playoffs.
Definitely. I think since we finally have a full roster, we got all the team back. I think we're meshing well, and we have some good leadership on the team in Trey Harris, and I think we're ready for the playoffs. Yeah, definitely. Like, you have one of the best hitters in the league right now, in Troy Dixon, who, as of right now, has a .05 advantage in the batting average for the batting average title over Nick Maselli. So hopefully Troy gets that, and like you said, they're meshing well. Feel like it's a great group of guys right now, and hopefully this carries it all the way through the playoffs. Speaking of Troy Dixon, he got his 15th double of the year tonight. That was really exciting. Yeah, really exciting, especially for a player that came on. He didn't start with the Gulls. They signed him because of an early injury to Charlie Carpenter. So just getting that production out of a guy that you didn't even start the year with is something really special, and can't give enough credit to the Gulls GM, Chuck Pava, for finding him. Definitely. Looks like Tolan's getting ready for the player of the game interview. Not quite sure who it's going to be yet, but do you have any guesses? Either Trey or Troy, and then maybe either Paul Campbell or Matthew McGarry, because they both pitched lights out. And then you can't say enough about the bullpen with Barker throwing an inning, and then Murphy, and then Blake to get his 6th save of the year. Paul Campbell coming in for his first start of the season. He just came in last week. He did really well tonight. Yeah, did really well, and saved the Gulls pitching a lot too. So they have a full staff going into the playoffs. All right, looks like Tolan's about ready on the field for the player of the game interview, and we're gonna send it down to him.
Thank you, Tolan Vaquero here alongside Newport Gulls player of the game, Trey Harris. Trey, you got some friends here?
Yeah, I got the little host sister, Lizzie, the best homie in the world. She's a big dog.
Well, welcome. How's it feel to be part of history? Great game by you today, getting the 25th win of the season. That benchmark, they've never won less than 25 wins in a season.
Yeah, don't really want to be the team that messed that up. It's nice to get it off our back and just have fun. Now we can go in the playoffs, get hot, and do what we do.
Well, a double, a single, 2-run scored, a stolen base. Your legs just feeling good out there today?
Oh, yeah, feeling real good. Got a day off. Just sat around the house today and watch movies all day. Felt good.
And what's the plan tomorrow as you get mentally prepared for the playoffs, hopefully to make a run at that championship?
Well, honestly, the plan, tomorrow just hang out with my friends, play a little 2K, maybe watch a couple movies, and then go to Chuck's house for some food. So as long as I'm having fun, I don't really care what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get this ring real quick.
Well, keep it light, Trey. You're always fun to watch. I hope to see a lot more to come here in the playoffs. Thanks, Trey.
Thanks,
Trey Harris is the player of the game. Let's send it up to the booth one more time.
Great game tonight. They have the day off tomorrow to prepare for the playoffs. It'll be really nice to see how far we get, see if we make it to that championship this year.
Yeah, definitely just timely hitting, great pitching, hopefully leads to a ring.
All right, Tolan, down to you to finish things out.
Thank you. It's the Gulls who take this win here tonight against the Swamp Bats by a score of 4-1. Matthew McGarry gets the win on the day. He comes in, and it's good to see for McGarry as he was a little wild in his last couple of appearances, but they get that 25th win of the year. Now, no team has ever won less than 25. Glad they got there. Before we conclude, let's take a moment to thank everyone that made tonight's production possible. Executive producer of baseball operations, Tom Lima, producer Shannon Carlson, associate producer Blair Schneider, the director of media relations, Nick Lima, audio tech Robbie Rhodes, the on-site engineer, Andrew Spaziano, production assistant Maddie Peters, field reporter Shannon O'Connell, statistician Jared Krajewski, Tommy Rezoch up there in the booth alongside me. I'm Tolan Vaquero, and as always, everyone, be safe, have a good night, and we'll see you here on Wednesday night as the playoffs are set to get underway here at Cardines Field.